Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Co-Optional Podcast. That's it. Jesse, that's all you had? Really?
He's just gonna make loud mouth noises.
What was that? No, I realized that we are in for a real treat today when the chat is saying, before we even start, guys, grow the fuck up.
I know, I just said that too.
I don't...
Bear in mind, we
like
run subscriber-only chat, so they're literally paying $5 a month to be morons.
I don't have to do a damn thing.
Yeah,
chat's doing it for me.
Apparently
That's a
so.
privilege, to be honest. That's the way I think of it. Oh, sorry, introductions.
Are you suggesting that they need to check their privilege?
No.
Good.
I said that if you pay $5, you can be a moron in chat. That's fine.
You can be as much of a moron as you like.
You're paying
Although
for
we do reserve the right to ban you forever. Well, it's the Co-Optional Podcast. We occasionally talk about video games. You might be noticing that we're missing one of our usual guests this week, so we replaced her. She ran off to merry old Blighty, as it turns out.
She's marrying him? Oh my god!
I said ran off to merry old Blighty.
I turned your words against you. How about that, Nika? Did I do good?
Well, fucking done.
Nice wordplay.
Thank you.
Genius. Absolute genius. So, I don't know who we really replaced Dodger with. It's one of these two. I can't remember which. We're going to just go with both, just for the sake of it. So, welcome our special guest for the day.
Takes two women to replace her.
Considering her size, I don't think that's very likely. But regardless,
small people, so it actually
we have replaced her with IamChiib and Nika Harper. Welcome to the show.
Hi. Thank you for having us so much.
Not a problem. So let's find out what these people actually do and why we bothered to bring them on the show in the first place. So why don't we start with you, Chiib? What is it you do?
I have a YouTube channel called IamChiib, and I just do a bunch of Let's Plays and vlogs about my life.
All right.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
That certainly sounds like a YouTube, all right. Nika Harper, what exactly do you do? I know what you used to do, but what you do now is a mystery.
I'm primarily focusing on my writing career and being an author. I also continually talk about games. My new Geek and Sundry vlog is going to be transitioning from writing to video games and kind of, oh my god, I told you I was going to knock this thing around, and sort of gameplay. So still way up on video games, doing authory stuff, things along that line.
Fantastic. Good to know. And Jesse keeps showing up even though we don't want him to. Everyone really knows what he does, or more accurately, doesn't do.
Ladies?
Thank you.
Are you just a stand-in for Jesse? Like,
I don't even have to do it anymore.
God damn.
My legend goes... I
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm here to be you.
I don't even need to do this anymore.
This is great. I'm just going to hang up on Jesse now. You know, thanks for showing up, Jesse. We don't need you anymore. Bye.
All right.
Yeah,
I'm Jesse. No, I look like a nerd. I have better glasses out here somewhere, but I would have to go find them, and I'm not gonna.
No, hold on.
During
I'm
the break, I'm gonna be you.
Glasses come on, then. Oh wait, I'm a nerd. I like how that means I'm not. By the law of transitive property, I am not a nerd.
These are different. These are like Cyril.
I know.
Cyril glasses from Archer. I look like Cyril.
I know.
Or like my other friends. Were we supposed to be talking about video games and not being...
We only occasionally do that.
Welcome to the podcast.
Okay.
If within the first 5 minutes we talk about video games, I think there's going to be 6 more weeks of winter, so we have to be careful about that.
Well,
that's how it
Southern California winter is still gorgeous, so as far as I can see.
Oh, la-di-da.
Natural lighting everywhere.
Unnatural yellow fluorescent shit. You know? I have one tiny window, and out there is... It's actually mostly blocked by Christmas decorations that we've yet to take down, so it didn't really go too well.
That sounds awesome. You should be Christmas all the time. I'm Halloween all the time. I think it works. Yeah.
It definitely could. I have a feeling that the neighborhood would not dig that. They seem a little set in their ways. It would be difficult to change it. It would be like Footloose, only with Halloween decorations.
Yeah, just their house is still haunted. Like, it's May.
I want a TotalBiscuit Footloose so badly.
Wasn't that us play
badly.
Connect Star Wars? I'm pretty sure that was it, right? I brought dancing to your home and ruined the establishment, right?
I am number 5 on top 33 worst dances in the world. Thank you very much.
You are, actually. That's amazing. And they actually didn't... I was in the same video as you, but they claimed you were the guy that was the terrible dancer.
They focused just on me. Thank you very much.
It was helpful that the camera was at a certain angle that you could barely see me behind you. So
But the ass shake was, that's what took it over the top. What can I say? I shake that ass.
We did eventually upload the video of you against Dodger, and that was one-sided as fuck. Like, you got your ass handed to you.
She's a tiny child. What else is she gonna learn to do? Just dance. That's all she can do. She's a marionette. She's a little baby robot. Polaris had to build a robot to represent their company, but they didn't have enough money to build a full-size robot, so they built a baby bot. And that's what she is. She's programmed to dance and entertain. That's it.
She's a bard then. She's a halfling.
She's a halfling bard. That's correct.
Halfling bard, but like in robot cybernetic style. So if you went into
yeah, I mean it's a fantasy RPG. So yeah. New D&D rules.
She's a Polaris golem.
That's right. Some dark magic put her together. She's made of clay and other parts.
I believe that she was secretly killed off years ago, then replaced with the Golem for Polaris solely to do those news shows. That's all she is anymore.
Yeah, the Dodger you all knew and loved died when she cut her hair and made it. She didn't have the things in the front. She didn't look like a fox anymore. Those were cut. That's how you can tell the difference between the real one and the one who is a robot / cyborg / golem.
Is this the Eminem situation all over again?
The what?
Now, was it Jesse that explained this? You were the one. Jesse, you were the one who explained it. What the fact that some people genuinely believe that Eminem was replaced by a doppelganger years ago, and the real Eminem is dead. There's like a real...
That was not me. I've never been that.
Who the hell
Eminem.
told me that then?
I don't know. That was me.
It either may have been Dodger or the Missus. I can't remember which. Whatever the case, yes, there is a real movement of that, including several prominent people that believe that Eminem is actually dead and was replaced by a doppelganger years ago. They cite evidences. Apparently, this so-called doppelganger also showed up when he was ill to do gigs for him and basically impersonated him, and nobody knew the difference. Pretty much the same with Dodger, right?
What was the name of that movie? There was a movie about the president one. It was fantastic. It was really good. It had Kevin Kline. But same idea, but instead of
the president's been dead the entire time, and he still bangs his wife? Yes, I remember that movie.
So I sort of
That wasn't
know.
the Manchurian Candidate,
They didn't
was it?
bang. They were unhappy, and then they fell in love.
It was a comedy.
Oh,
no,
okay.
She fell in love with the guy who wasn't her husband.
Yeah.
But looked like him, yeah.
Because the other guy was a total
movie was called.
D-bag, and so when he was all sick, it was like a name, but I don't remember the name because bad with names. But
Dave?
like, yeah,
Was it Dave?
I think it was.
And he was the president.
It was a really easy name. It was Dave.
Yeah.
Apparently,
It was really
Dave. That's a really bad name for a movie. That could be mistaken for many things.
It wasn't very. It was a great movie, but like again, shit name. So like that's why I'm just like it was a name of something.
Well, that's the
remember
mandatory movie talk out of the way.
Done.
We can wash our hands of that. Welcome to the Co-optional Podcast. We occasionally talk about video games. Coming up in the show, we'll be talking about what we've been playing this week. Then we shall take a break and play commercials, which you will watch. And then after that, just being honest, there's nothing wrong with it. It's like, you will watch the commercials. That's how it's going to work. Then after the commercials and some nice music, we will talk a little bit about some news articles that we have found particularly interesting this week. We will cover the forthcoming releases, of which there are not that many, because I should remind you this is still January, and nobody releases games in January. And then we will be going on, if we have the time, to a couple of custom host topics, which the hosts have now just been made aware is going to happen. So,
Thank you.
I'm prepared. I'm super prepared.
Jesse, you never have a host topic. In the 98 episodes we've done, you have never had a good topic.
Only when there are two women do I bring such controversy.
Oh, God.
I'm so excited. Oh, I'm so excited.
Oh, dear. All right, we'll leave that towards the end of the show.
This shit, yo.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be fun.
Oh, this will be wonderful. I'm just going to sit back and sell tickets. And then at the end of the show, we will shill all of our stuff shamelessly to try and get you to go and watch it because we need to pay the rent. And that will be the Co-optional Podcast as always. So let us begin, shall we? Cheap, what have you been playing this week? What's been going on?
I have been playing The Walking Dead Season 2, and I love that game. It's amazing. Have you guys tried it?
I played the first episode, and that was really as far as I got. I've been meaning to go back and play through the whole thing. I got code for Season 2, and I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't finish Season 1 in any way, so I probably should have done that. How do you feel that things have progressed from Season 1 to Season 2? Like, have they really brought over a lot of the choices you made? Do you feel that the things that happened actually mattered?
Yes, they have actually. Oh my gosh! Even at the very beginning of that game, the choices that you have to make are so intense. It's just ridiculous. It just pulls at your heartstrings right at the very beginning of the game, and oh my god! The very first hour that I played it, I almost flipped my table. I was like, screw this. I'm out of here. And I really like what they did with it. It's a good sequel.
That's certainly good to know. And I've got to say, like, I've been trying to keep track of what's been going on with Telltale lately, and I'm really disappointed that we still haven't seen hide nor hair of the next episode of The Wolf Among Us.
Oh yeah, I played all of The Wolf Among Us, and that game is amazing. So I'm looking forward to what they do with the next season.
When did they come out with the first one?
The first one came out, it was over 3 months ago, I think.
I was about to say,
No
I feel like there should be something else already, right?
Usually it's on a monthly
so.
schedule. But then
that
again,
too
the monthly
demanding for me?
schedules.
It was October the 3rd that game came out, so...
Holy crap, are you serious?
Yeah, so...
Did it not get the reception they wanted? Because
No,
feel like...
I mean, it got a fantastic reception. People raved about it, and rightfully so. I loved it. I thought it was actually... I went as far as to say, look, this is actually better than The Walking Dead, because I like the subject matter more.
Yeah, I love Fables. I haven't played Wolf Among Us. I wanted to wait until all of the episodes were out. And
Might be waiting a while by the looks of it.
Yeah.
I know, but I wouldn't have expected that, to be honest. Like, I know people stop talking about it, but that's almost typical with a lot of episodic games. You hear about, like, just the release, but you don't hear about anything after that. It's actually really shocking to me, but hopefully that will result in a better product, because I know that Telltale's crunch time that they have to do to get episodes out on a monthly schedule is probably one of the most miserable things I've ever heard or been a part of. And I used to work for them, by the way. And so if there's been 3 months, maybe episode 2 is going to be super, super epic. Giving them that amount of time would actually be super, super wonderful. And that's what I'm hoping is gonna result of this. Because if not, it's just a really weird move. Maybe they lost some people from the team. Maybe, there's got to be some kind of reason. But I wonder what that could be, because I haven't heard anything about it.
With the way that season 1 ended, they have got to make the next episode.
They're not gonna stop, but I'm wondering if it's like, it seems like there's something blocking them from it. It might be a focus issue. Maybe it's more important that Walking Dead comes out for some reason, shape, or form. But that seems like a really odd decision for any company to make. Why would they switch gears like that, even if accidentally?
Because they're also making 12 billion other games now.
That does seem like a bit of a concern, isn't it? They have announced various titles, including, of course, Game of Thrones, which I think probably got the most hype behind it. But,
I'm so excited for that.
But they're also dealing with Tales of the Borderlands, which was a really weird choice, in my opinion. If anything, I don't think I was particularly interested in seeing a sort of character-driven Borderlands game without the guns.
You know what that is? And I'm gonna... I think it's because all the side characters in Borderlands, the main characters in Borderlands are like, meh. The side characters are what makes that game entertaining. I think that's what they're going to do. Is they're going to follow those characters? Because everyone's like, I just want to play a Tiny Tina game. That's what's about to happen. So
I'm actually quite a bit interested in that, because I think Borderlands has been one of the games that has successfully created an interesting world. There's not that many out there that you kind of want to hear more about the NPCs. You want to hear more about the world. Yeah, sure, it's just big flatland desert and whatever, but like there's something about it that is innately intriguing. And I think that makes a good Telltale game, but I'm not sure what that's actually going to end up as. Like, I'm interested in that probably more than I am Game of Thrones, because I'm not interested in Game of Thrones as much. But seeing what they could do with an actual existing game property, it's pretty fascinating.
It's a fair point, honestly. It's intriguing for a game property, especially so early on, to be given to another company. It's obviously a very risky thing to do, and I'm a little bit surprised to see a Gearbox just be willing to give that property away to somebody else, and I wonder how much involvement and oversight they'll really have in it. But I think if we get back to the issue of The Wolf Among Us and things like that, how many people could they have hired? How much larger could the studio have got? Because they have way more on their plate than we've ever seen Telltale have to deal with before. And the massive delay between episode 1 and episode 2 of The Wolf Among Us doesn't really bode well for the rest of the series. I'm a bit worried that it's going to take them maybe 2 years to get these episodes out, by which point I'm gonna have lost interest. I'm gonna be honest. I can't be asked. I don't even have a cable TV subscription. I don't want to watch episodes when I know I can't watch the next one immediately. So with this, it's been even worse. Like, say, oh, I have to wait a week for the next episode on TV. Okay, I've got to wait over 3 fucking months for the resolution to the cliffhanger at the end of episode 1 of Wolf Among Us. I mean, really?
And what a cliffhanger!
Jesus.
That was, oh god.
See, that's the tricky part. Like, it was hard enough to try and balance what would be an episodic release model
Yeah,
for this.
totally.
Because from TV, we're used to the weekly. We're not used to the monthly. And monthly as gameplay is like, each episode is actually kind of short. It's between, like we'll say 4 to 12 hours. And so that as a gamer is like, that's pretty much a day, right? You can get it done in about 3 days. And even if you're not really paying attention, you're probably only you're really gonna go nuts on it for about 2 days and get through it. So the hardest part, I used to work in community there, and that was really difficult to try and keep people entertained for the next 3 weeks.
While they're waiting for the next
Because then that's all
bit.
they're talking about. Is like, oh, what about the next Tales of Monkey Island? I wonder what that's going to be. How do you keep them interested and coming back and being involved in things? So this is actually kind of opposite of what I would have suggested for them, which I would say to do it all at once. To do and for a little while they were doing that, especially with Sam and Max, where they had to get their episodes done actually way far in advance. So they were about 2 or 3 episodes up before they actually started releasing them. Mm-hmm. And if they did that on a more weekly or bi-weekly basis, I think that would actually keep the episodic model up. At the same time, they wouldn't get the reviews. They wouldn't know how to improve as they're going along. But it's also keeping the interest in a primary thing. But that also means that, money.
Yeah.
Eventually, you're going to need that money to come in, and doing the entire game and then releasing it is very difficult on any company. So that model worked out really well for them getting cash.
Although one has to argue that considering The Walking Dead and to a lesser extent things like, say, Monkey Island and Sam and Max were so successful that they certainly could have afforded to do a little bit more in advance. We've got to bear in mind The Wolf Among Us, when it was announced, it was said to be a bi-monthly release. So in other words, every 2 months. They have exceeded that significantly already when we're waiting for the next episode here. And there's not really hide nor hair of the next one. And we're already halfway through January. That's a little bit problematic. And now they're actually sitting on 4 properties that need to be worked on. The Wolf Among Us, Walking Dead Season 2, which is probably their priority, Tales and Borderlands, and Game of Thrones at the same time.
They already got rid of King's Quest. Do you remember that? When they announced King's Quest at the same time? Yeah. Nobody's heard anything about that. I think they sold that off already.
It's probably best that they don't do that.
I thought the same thing.
Yeah, it worries me a little bit.
Like, you can't redo King's Quest. You can't continue to do it. Like, it's such a... There's nothing that can be built upon King's Quest. It's just going to be miserable. Yeah. Like, it's just... So I saw that one as the non-winning proposition.
Jesse can't get a word in edgeways. This is the best podcast. Fantastic.
My input I would like to add to this conversation is, when you said neither hide nor hair of Wolf Among Us, did Nika laugh at the verbiage you used there? Because I saw that. And that was retarded.
I laughed at the fact that I used to release news, and the fact that you've seen hide nor hair is a problem in the games industry, where people want to give you news or information, and the company will not let you. So right now, what I think is that they probably know what's going on. They're not going to fucking tell us. Like, that's a problem with every games industry.
No, I'm good now. That means that I came up with a pun, which means I feel really good about myself. So we're good.
It's got to the point now with the Telltale stuff that I think that I probably will just now wait. It's the same with Walking Dead Season 2. I think maybe if I was more invested in the first game, I would have jumped on Season 2 immediately. But since I only played Episode 1 of that, and I haven't really gone back to it, I think, you know what? Let's just wait for the season to finish, and then I'll get started on that. Whereas with Wolf Among Us, now I'm in this situation where I'm pissed off because I played the first episode on day 1, and like, where the fuck is the next bit? You know? And that model seemed to work pretty well for them. But if you look at their release schedule and you go back further than Wolf Among Us and things like Walking Dead, their biggest success, obviously Walking Dead Season 1, started on April the 24th. They ended that series, and they actually stuck to their bi-monthly schedule on November the 20th. So they got all that cranked out in, that would be 6 months? Whereas we've already waited 3.5 for the episode 2 of Wolf Among Us. Before that, they did stuff like Law & Order Legacies, which was actually 7 episodes bi-weekly. They did Jurassic Park, Jesus.
We don't try to talk about that.
It's best that we don't. And then they had Puzzle Agent, which was actually just one game in and of itself. Back to the Future, which was monthly. But they had way less on their plate at any point in their history. Even when they were doing stuff like Sam and Max. And during Sam and Max, they released Hector's Badge of Carnage. And they did Puzzle Agent as well. They released kind of all that stuff at the same time.
They didn't actually release it. They published Hector.
there we go.
But they were also always working on things like there were CSI games and little things on the side. So they had all these other games that they didn't really like. Those were the money makers, right? Like those you shipped off, you got money from. So there was always about 1 or 2 in production at any time. This one right now they've announced 4. Huge.
Yeah.
2 that they're currently working on and 2 that are clearly in pre-production. And they've also lost a couple people from the team who were integral in making some of those other decisions and writing. So Sean Vanneman and Jake Rodkin, who are a writer and pretty much creative director respectively, went off to do their own thing and called Camp
hang on. We're talking about Rodkin from Idle Thumbs here, right?
Yep.
Ah.
They, I'm pretty sure that they are both
99% certain. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, oh my god, is that public? I'm like, of course it's public. It's already out there.
Well, too late now.
Yeah, but they've already gone off to do some other things. Vanman, most definitely, he was one of the founders. But I'm pretty sure that Rodkin went with him. And just very, really, really sharp people who really made Walking Dead 1 the big one. Like that was their magnum opus of working at Telltale, and it needed to happen. And I think it came together great. So them moving off the project, all of a sudden it was just like Walking Dead season 2, and I'm like, whoa, that's surprising to me because I didn't know like who would actually be overseeing that whole thing. Also, I'm really proud of the success of Walking Dead, primarily because Telltale was really stuck in kind of this is a point-and-click adventure game, and then they tried to do something a little bit different. Lo and behold, it worked because the writing of it was phenomenal. It made you want to feel things, and that's where games are going now. It's not about shooting as much. We have a lot of those games, but there's a drought in human emotion, and so Walking Dead had that just like crazy. I didn't really like it, but at the same time, like just the industry at large was like, holy crap, we have to have people feel things.
Yeah, apparently so. Just to kind of interrupt this for a second, as Jesse accurately pointed out, this just came out about 4 minutes ago. Regarding the episode 2 release
info. First week of February. They were watching the podcast and they said
they're claiming first week of Feb.
It. Nika is letting everything out of the bag. First week of fucking February. Just do it.
I haven't worked for them for 3 years. A lot has probably changed since then.
I would think so. But regardless, I mean, that's almost 4 months, basically. That's double the length that was expected there. I would really love to know what caused the delays there and whether or not they're claiming several things conspired against us and there were holiday delays. It's an unusual and specific set of circumstances that we don't foresee happening again. I hope so, because I think that delay definitely put me off that episodic model. And that really sucks for them because that means I'm more likely just to wait until the whole thing's finished and then it's on sale and then I buy it. And then much prefer that I buy it at the start, not at the end for 50% off.
Yeah. I can see there's so many moving parts with that company and, all of the things that are going on with it that I can totally see how that could occur. I just want to know where. So I'm going to dig my feelers in and talk to a couple of my friends. I'm not going to say anything about it, but I'm just really, really curious because it's kind of worrisome to hear that.
Hopefully
because that's
they haven't
the one that I'm
bitten
looking forward to the most.
More than they can chew. Because let's be honest, the 4 properties they're sitting on right now are all really important. Like, if they fuck up any one of them, then that's going to reflect really badly on them. It's not like, say, oh, well, Hector Badge of Carnage wasn't so good. This is the game we published. That's okay, we'll get back to it. It's like, these are 4 really important things you have here. So don't mess them up, because people will be disappointed. Chiib, what else have you been playing this week?
Holy shit, that entire conversation was based off oh my god.
Jesus, yeah.
We're back at 45, guys.
Can we have these guests back? Because this is great. We actually have things to talk about.
just keep talking about game companies I've worked for.
I actually just did the Elder Scrolls Online beta over the weekend, and I really like how that's progressing.
Are you NDA'd on that, or can you say anything?
Yes,
okay.
I can't say anything.
Well, fuck.
But...
All right. I can talk... Okay, let's play a game of Confirm Deny. So I played this and can talk about it from when I played it at PAX, which was obviously some time ago.
Oh my god, this will be fun.
This should be interesting. So
go on.
I played about 45 minutes of the game, and I went through one of the opening quests, which involved going into a cave, and there was a frozen man, and there was this kind of trickster who was giving me riddles and things like that. And the whole thing to me didn't grab me. I found the combat system it almost felt like they forced it into first person and they really didn't ever design it to be that way. Do you feel that that's the kind of way that it's currently going?
No.
Okay.
Let's see, I'm trying to I'm trying to not say, but also this is going to be difficult. When I played the beta over the weekend, I actually really loved the combat system. It felt like I could, how do I say it without saying it? I really loved the combat system.
Okay.
It just felt like I was in the game. Like
I love
I
making
had
this difficult
so
for
many.
people. It's great. It's like, you have information I want. Let's get it somehow.
I don't know
feel
how
the
to.
same as Mike's opinion.
When I played it, there was a lack of... I felt that there was... If you play something like Skyrim or Oblivion, I remember playing Oblivion initially, and in the very first bit in the sewer, when you get a shield and then a rat comes after you and it jumps at you and it smacks your shield and it's got this real impact. It's got bang straight into your shield. You know, the shield recoils, the screen shakes a little bit. It really, and it felt very visceral, and it actually immersed me quite a lot as a direct result of that. And I didn't feel that in Elder Scrolls when I played it, but that was several months ago. So you're telling me that that has improved?
They have improved the combat system a lot.
Okay.
Because I played it about a month ago in beta, and then I just played this previous weekend. So it has
they've
improved.
jumped forward quite a bit. Okay. All right. Fair enough.
And the graphics of that game, oh my God, I set them all the way up, and everything is just beautiful. It's almost like you're in just a real world. But this is me. I mean, I usually play World of Warcraft, and everything's
everything
cartoony,
looks
so.
better than that, so...
But it's beautiful. I am definitely going to play that game when it comes out.
Fair enough, yes. I won't force any more information out of you, considering that channels have actually been DMCA'd for even, like, showing a piece of footage of it, so, yeah, we're not going to do that. Sounds like a pretty bad idea, all things considered. Did you get to play anything that you can talk about?
Let's see. I mostly just played that over the weekend and The Walking Dead.
All right.
Mostly just those.
Fair enough. Nika, what have you been playing this week?
The only things that I've really been catching up on are Ace Attorney, Dual Destinies. It took me a
yes.
really long time to get back into that. What? Was that your objection, or are
Nothing.
you trying to...
That was the weakest objection I've ever seen.
objection.
Yeah, I was like, no, objection.
Guys,
Like-
objection! He's going to be the newest attorney. He's... God, that was even worse than Mr. Payne.
Mr. Sisface.
If I full objectioned, you shrunk my screen so tiny. If I full
You can
objection,
totally. You have to go backwards.
Yeah, I have to go
But
backwards.
there's an objection.
Objection just smacks his camera off the top of the monitor.
there's a bookshelf behind me. Yeah,
You can
objection,
move.
crash. Everything.
It's effective. That would actually show up in the game. So I've loved all of the Ace Attorneys. I was crazy waiting for Dual Destinies to come out. Like I had to finish the
us
last
bloody
one,
time.
Phoenix Wright, and I was really excited for this new one to come out, and it seemed to have fixed a lot of the problems that I liked, and then introduced a whole bunch of shit that I didn't. So right now I'm in like the middle of the third trial and kind of just legitimately pissed off at the game. Usually, like, you can't get that DS away from me. I'm glued to it. And then this time it seems like something about like the actual story of it is a lot weaker. And it kills me to say this because I've been like plotting away at this game for the longest time, and like I've never had a bad opinion about it. I've always been like feisty or this could be better, but this is kind of one of those things where I'm like, oh, well, some of it's okay, but I'm not feeling engaged anymore, and I think it's just kind of okay.
Do you feel the formula has kind of run its course, or is it just genuinely a weakness in the writing this time around?
I actually think that it was a lot of writing this time. Like they always had a penchant for kind of over explaining certain things where it's like every single time a witness says something, I don't want to feel powerless. But it goes back to my character, and I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm like, oh yeah, we got the statue, we got that piece of evidence, I'm ready. And she's like, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, shut up, just let me drive. Like, that's all I want. So it feels like sometimes I'm a step ahead of where the puzzle is, and then I have to wait through like 7 lines of dialogue about how sad and scared she is.
Okay.
Or he or any of the characters, or like just in general, maybe it's a completely random puzzle, so it just doesn't really make sense. But there's a lot of, it's mostly the storytelling this time around that's really fussing me, and that's really getting to me. So I haven't really been playing as much of that. I played through episode 1 of Kentucky Route Zero.
Oh, well, there's the other game that takes even longer to come out than all of the Telltale ones.
Episode 2 just came out, but I haven't gotten through that one because I wanted to play through the first one twice. I know that's a weird thing.
That game had a lot of hype behind it and a huge amount of indie cred. When I first loaded it up, I really appreciated the graphics style. It actually reminded me of some of the really old ray traced stuff from back in the day. In particular, it reminded me of the cutscenes from Flashback, the good version, not the one on console.
I was about to say,
No, not the 2012 Ubisoft remake that was just
I think you
awful.
mean the fantastic.
I think I mean go to fucking hell. But regardless, like, and then it just seemed like it's a lot of dialogue. It's a point and click adventure, right?
Yeah, it is. And the story of it was really cool, but I was a little bit. I was put off. It didn't directly tell you that your decisions didn't mean anything. So your decisions in this game was entirely exploratory. Okay. So me being an asshole, which I played at the time, because I was just like, yeah, there's the option of, are you okay? Or I seriously need to go down the road.
At the time.
Yeah, at the time? All the time?
I picked I wanted to decide what my character was, so I kind of role-played it. So he was very direct. But then I realized in my directness that it didn't affect the game at all. And by the time I got all the way through the episode, I realized that I just missed out on all of this content about, like, I should have been dicking around and talking to people and, like, you know, exhausting every dialogue tree, and I didn't do that. So by the time I went back, then it became really, really fascinating because I kind of did it just to have a role play perspective. I wanted my guy to be extremely, you know, very focused, but it doesn't matter. Like those decisions didn't actually mean anything. It just meant that you got a slightly skewered experience, that you went along with the normal plot.
Doesn't that mean that, I would view that as a weakness personally, because if it gives you dialogue options that allow you to go in certain directions with that dialogue, then surely you would think that that's a little bit of player agency that shouldn't punish you.
I don't think it was exactly punishing. I think that it should have been more upfront about that. I shouldn't have expected it, honestly, because this day and age, we're talking about like teams of 70 people making a game like Walking Dead, which has those actual like dynamic moments of decision making, versus this is a game that a couple people made.
Yeah, it's
that
two
is
people.
Game. I actually, in retrospect, I liked that you could play it that way, because some people just want, like, you know, I don't want to hear about whether there's a church there and whether there's people singing in it. I don't want the mystery. I just want to get to Dogwood Drive. And some people play that way, and that's how they want to. But for me, that's not how I play. I just wanted to play that as an actual character, and it didn't come through the first time. So I played through the second time, and I certainly enjoyed it. But there was that nagging decision thing in the back where it's like, oh, are the decisions I'm making or the things that I'm saying right now actually going to affect me? Fact is, they're not. Well, shit. We're going through this one again. But it's a really, really good episode. I really liked episode 1, and I haven't even started on episode 2 yet because I wanted to play through episode 1 again. But that's another of my current favorites. Like, it's a bleary night, and I'm kind of cranky about something. And just Kentucky Route Zero. Like, good soundtrack, good everything. Just play it.
Honestly seems like the kind of game that I could very much appreciate aesthetically, but I just would hate the gameplay because it sounds like there's very little of it.
It's point-and-click adventure. It's like, it's dialogue trees, the game, which I like.
How much actual puzzle solving is in it, if any?
0.
0? Oh, well, that's appropriate.
It's an exploratory game.
Okay.
I know, like,
I hate those.
It's very narrative, but it's interesting if you wanted to hear more about the story. There's a little bit of puzzle solving, but not even that much. But it's taking you through a kind of visual story base, which actually they did a really good job on. A lot of the ones that you see are just like, oh, this is a story, but the story sucks. This one, the story is really cool. I have no idea what's going on. I'm on episode 2, but it's fascinating and I like hearing it.
Okay.
So if you like feeling lost and not knowing what's going on, this is a great game.
Sweet.
Because right now they haven't explained jack shit, but I love it.
J.J. Abrams, the game. This is going to be wonderful.
I hope not. Oh, God. What if there's no
The game.
Oh.
Everyone's actually dead. End of series. Disappointing.
Sounds great.
It's probably true. I mean, there's a lot of ghosts and death already, so I'm just like, whatever.
Fair enough.
Sixth Sense, the game.
I find it very difficult to get engaged with a game like that because I feel that it's just kind of dragging me through an art exhibit. And really, that's not what I want out of a game. I want some sort of degree of challenge, and it doesn't really seem like Kentucky Route Zero really provides any of that. It seems to be challenging your patience more so than anything else. So if you're not into the story and you don't really dig the writing, there's not too much impetus to actually continue.
Yeah, there really isn't. The entire game is the story. The rest of it is really just illustrating that. It's lucky that I like the story, because if not, I'd just be like, oh,
Just a waste of time, yeah.
Yeah, especially when it crashed on me a couple times, so I started getting really fussy about that, and I was just like, me. You know, this
exactly like that.
this actually happens when we cast something. I start
Do you find that effective, or is it just a waste of your time?
I find it effective.
But also because I read a lot of books and I happen to like a lot of those story-driven games, it tends to work pretty well for me. I know that it's not for everybody, though. Same with, like, you know, I wouldn't recommend it to a lot of people, but for the experience that I'm having, I'm digging it.
Fair enough. Anything else on the list of things you've played?
No.
Fair enough.
Read books.
Books.
I'm a book reader. I'm sorry.
One of those readers.
I have Skylander Swap Force actually still in its box, staring at me for the past, like, 3 months. Like, I got the special Goth Dark Edition, and it's just sitting there. And I keep staring at it, and I'm just like, I pre-ordered you. Huh. Like, I should actually get to that.
I probably shouldn't do that anymore. That's very silly.
No, it's great because I know that it's there. But then I'm just like, I hate my TV, and then I just won't turn it on. So, like, it's not that I even hate consoles. It's that I really hate my TV, and therefore I will not play console games. And so there's this, like, backdraft going on in my head of just like, you know, I'm going to buy stuff for it, but it's just sitting there. And I'm like, huh.
Why do you hate your TV?
It's really old and shitty.
Oh.
It was a gift that I didn't
though, right?
Huh?
You have a monitor you could use.
It's one of those old, like, it's larger than me, and it's really heavy, so I can't even get it out of my house to get
goodness.
So I'm just stuck with it until I move. And as soon as I got here, I'm just like, I'm leaving it whenever I move. And I've been here for, like, years, and the TV is still here because I'm still here because I haven't gotten a chance to get rid of it yet. And I'm just like, you can barely read the dialogue half the time. Like, the text is really bad. I'm staring at it.
Oh, God. I remember that back, it was a 360 release. They were putting out games. I think it was the original Dead Rising, where if you played it on an SD television, you couldn't read shit because the whole thing was designed to be played in HD, but at the time, most people didn't have HD televisions. We were trying to demo the thing in the shop when I was working at Game. It was a horrible experience. And every time someone would notice the dialogue, it's like, I can't read anything on this screen. Like, I can't read the UI, I can't read the descriptions, nothing. It was really irritating.
We had the same experience, except to me, it's just a game with absolutely no dialogue. Because we just gave up. We're just like, there's something I should probably read. Screw it. Zombies! Like,
if you could skip the dialogue in Dead Rising, that would have been great. But unfortunately, it was like, oh, someone's calling you. Great, let's walk really slowly. Oh.
That was always the worst. That was the drag of the game because we had no idea what was going on. The rest was just like hitting people with mascot heads, which was great.
Get a giant teddy bear and assault a pack of zombies with it.
That's the game to me.
That pretty much is Dead Rising's soul. I think if you take that away, it just becomes boring. Speaking of boring, Jesse, what have you been playing this week?
Yeah.
I know exactly what you've been playing.
Battlefield 4.
Let's not do that. Let's talk about Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, because you've been playing that instead.
Holy shit, that game is maybe the best game ever made by man. Ever.
It's fucking great.
It is.
Is it really?
It's so good.
So, those of you who actually watch my channel, there is I'm
All
playing
three of you.
Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. And it's a game where...
Can they change the name on that, please? Can they retroactively change it to something not shit?
The name makes as little sense as the actual game. It is a beautiful thing. It is.
Apparently, Revengeance is a real word, but it is certainly archaic and very much not relevant
anymore.
anymore.
It sounds awful. It sounds like something you would hear on Wheel of Fortune.
Nope.
Like...
It is wonderful. You don't know because you haven't played it.
I haven't
don't
played
get it.
I'm sorry.
It is.
I don't play AAA.
It is a spectacle. Oh, there's nothing AAA.
It's Platinum, it's not AAA. It doesn't count. Platinum's in that really special space where they make amazing games, but they still have their sort of indie cred. I think we can give them credit for that.
It is a spectacle fighter.
Metal Gear?
Yeah, but it's not made by like the regular Kojima Studios though. It's not one of the mainline Metal Gear games. It's actually made by Platinum, the guys that made Bayonetta and numerous other amazing games.
Oh, that is kind of cool then. Okay. I still don't play it.
It is. You should. You should play it because it will. You'll say, "By God, I think I have a lady boner right now." Is what you'll say because it is the sexiest fucking game that ever existed, You can slow time and anime slice people into little pieces.
And there's a counter that says how many pieces you slice them into, and each individual piece is simulated. Yeah.
And they explode. You can cut them into little tiny bits, or you can just cut off certain parts that just fall off when slow motion stops. You fight giant. In the first 5 minutes of the game, you lift a giant Metal Gear by its sword and suplex it. It's the best fucking game that ever was.
Fucking ridiculous.
How do I get this? Do I have to get an
No,
you'd have to.
It's actually on PC. Which is wonderful. There is a PC version of it. It came out on PS3 last year to fairly good acclaim, I feel. And the PC version came out quite recently and ended up being... it's good enough. It's not the world's best port ever, but it still uses console level texture quality. So I hope you like 720p because that's the texture level you're getting on that. So that's a bit disappointing.
I bumped everything up all the way.
It doesn't matter though. Even if you go up to 1080p, the texture quality is still the same as it was on console. So there's not really much you can do with that.
My favorite part of the game is when you first start, it says, would you like a tutorial? I was like, sure, yeah, no, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Sure, I'll take a tutorial. And the tutorial is run, slice, run and slice, block. That's all it teaches you how to do. There's 16 billion other things to do in the game. Doesn't tell you what to do.
Doesn't give you
figure
any
it out yourself,
information.
asshole. You have to there's a whole combo list in the game. There's all sorts of different things you have to do. There's an entire screen where you can upgrade. They never tell you the upgrade screen exists. You have to find it.
Yeah.
It's wait a minute. This game.
That's awesome. Or really bad design, but I'm hoping it's the awesome one. It's do you want a tutorial? Psh, it says dismissively,
Yeah.
And your team is your team's basically the Fast and the Furious crew, but with a Nazi. You have an old German man who collects arms. He works with you. Ludacris is there. There's a girl who drinks too much coffee. It's very over the top anime. It's like they said, how cheesy anime can we make this? And that's what they did. It is really insane. It's an insane game.
There's also a robotic dog. And the robotic dog has a chainsaw for a tail. And in the DLC you get to play as him. And it's great.
Why has nobody told me about this before now?
He's a robotic dog who, when you first meet him, he's like, I must destroy you, for it is in my programming. I am free to... He's like, how are you... The hero, this dog talks how are you free if you don't... You're a robot. You have no free will. And then he's like, I am a robot. I will destroy you. That is my will. And then you kill him and he's like, stupid robots. It's fucking incredible.
Minor spoiler though, the cool thing is later on, you slice him into a billion pieces, so it's not really sure how this actually happens, but eventually he kind of becomes your ally, and you can have philosophical conversations with him through the codec. No, I'm deadly serious. The game has the codec, just like any other Metal Gear game, and it's used to have these kind of side conversations. You don't have to have any of them. You can completely ignore it, but it's a bunch of background information, and you can have conversations with Blade Wolf, and he has a lot of really interesting, deep shit to say. And you have philosophical debates with him on the codec, and then go back to slicing people in tiny chunks. It's the most ridiculous juxtaposed nonsense. It's fantastic.
It's amazing. The voice of the main character, I think, is the guy Axel from Kingdom Hearts 2, the redheaded dude, who's like, Sora, I'm the guy who sounds like he talks like he's drunk the entire game. It's his voice. I'm almost positive, and it's just a wonderful game. It is ridiculous. It makes you feel like you're a badass without actually having done anything. You don't really do anything too impressive, but you feel it feels like Wrath of Asura, that game that came out a while ago.
Do you say you don't really do anything too impressive after saying not 5 minutes ago you suplexed the 3,000-ton Metal Gear?
By pressing Y, you didn't earn that.
Yeah, but you pressed the fuck out of that Y. It is like Asura's Wrath.
You didn't mash that Y button, but still,
you hit that Y button. You feel like the harder you hit it, the more effective it is. That's... Even though it's completely not true.
It's a ridiculous game. It's so much fun. Love it.
It is pretty absurd.
This week I played the Diablo 3 beta, the new
yes.
Reaper of Souls. Whatever it is, Reaper of Souls.
Must have really left an
was-
impression on you if you can't remember the name of it.
I mean, here's the thing. I for a while played my wizard, mage, whatever the hell that damn thing is, sorcerer, through the roof when Diablo 3 came out. I was like, I'm gonna be so good at this game, and then I just stopped because after a while I was like, this is retarded. Well, I have been playing the new one, and the only thing you can do really is play as a crusader, which is the new class.
Yeah.
Because if you play as your character, you ruin the expansion for yourself. Like if you play as the one you leveled to, like mine's 60 and it had like 5 Paragon levels or whatever it was. I was like, F it, I'll try the new levels. I think I played like 2 hours before it got to the point where it's like, thanks for playing the beta. You get to the right before the last boss and then it cuts you off. And I was like,
Oh, that reminds me of the regular beta where you killed King Leoric, and then it's like, well, that's all, folks. It's like, well, that's disappointing.
I hope, because the plot they're setting up, I'm not going to spoil it. The plot they're setting up feels like it's one of those, we're going to make something happen that you didn't think happened, even though, like, I'm really hoping. I was convinced in the first Diablo that the one war angel at the end was going to be the real bad guy, because he's like, F humans, rah, 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 rah. I thought that was going to be it, but turns out it wasn't at all. So I don't know, what the deal is, but this time I think they're keeping the story close to the chest because they don't want anyone to know what's going to happen. But it does feel like all those loose ends, they wrap them up in 2 hours. They're like, remember all those things we talked about in the first one that we didn't really give you answers to? Here, we're going to wrap that all up right now. And then the last little bit is the overarching plot. And you're like, okay, am I about to do it? Is this going to happen? And then it's like, see you in the real game. So I don't know. I hope it's good.
Rushed? Because it sounds like it's a really rushed experience to be like, get through every single plot point, wrap it all up, and then.
Well, I wonder if that's a beta exclusive thing in the sense that they don't really want to ruin too much in the beta, because that would be
they don't give you
ridiculous.
any of the. Yeah, they don't give you any major story points. Like there's no intro, there's no outro, there is no last boss fight. But the 2 fights you do get to fight are, one is of a character who you've never met before.
Okay.
And just shows up. So it's very much Diablo-ish, but it's like, I'm an angel, but I'm bad now. Right? And it's not the main one. It's just like one of his sub-minions. And then there's a character who you've met before who they're like, we're wrapping up the story really quick. Really quick. Like, it's wrapped up. And you're like, oh, okay. Well, that happened. And then you
like
move
he's
on
giving
to
you
the,
a quest and then he just dies and you're like, oh, all right then.
it's very much how they handle Deckard Cain. Like, this is a major lore character. Let's have Rita Repulsa kill him. And that's how we'll do this.
Bam.
It was
Done.
It was Rita Repulsa Power Rangers. No one gets that joke.
Fred, no, sorry.
Oh my God, you guys. She looked like Rita Repulsa.
I know the names and I saw a GIF once. And I remember seeing it when I was, that's not the point. Keep
But
going.
I don't know. It's the thing that disappoints me. That ending bit, the last storyline bit. The Crusader though is maybe the fucking best thing in the world. It's really fun to play, and I'm actually enjoying that. Problem is that I have to play through the entire thing all over again, and as much as I want to, I don't want to. So
well, don't you want any of the other classes? There's some cool classes in there, right?
No, I suffer
You're
from the
really sticking
inability
with
to.
Sorcerer?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I cannot. Once I stick with something, I will not relevel. That's just, that's stubbornness, I would say, mostly because I don't, in every MMO I've ever played, Final Fantasy XI, I played Dragoon, single-handedly the worst class in the entire game. I stuck with it because I was like, fuck if I'm gonna level up again. In WoW, I played a shaman. They kept nerfing shaman. I was like, fuck it,
I played a mage. Don't even get me started with that. The sole reason why people brought me on raids for about a year was my ability to give them cake.
Only reason why people brought me is because I was on the internet. Shit, I'm no dummy. So there's a lot of stuff that I have endured simply because I would not re-level. And even in Guild Wars 2, I picked an engineer, which is basically just the poor man shaman. And I was like, oh my God, I hate this class. People are like, it's so good though. I'm like, all I do is either not cast little totem thingies or cast totem thingies. So I was like, I'll try leveling up something else, and like just gave up. Like I don't have it in me to do stuff I've already done, because unlike most people where they just plow through, I get every ounce of story that I can get. And so I feel like I've experienced it all and it bores me. And I'm like, I did this. Or I don't.
You could do it on the other side. You could go Alliance and Horde instead.
Fuck
Usually
the
there's other
Alliance.
factions. Okay, I knew we were friends.
Fuck out.
So I'm sort of on the verge of vomiting here because for some reason I went to Twitter, which was a mistake. And usually I don't look at.
Vomiting, I went to Twitter.
I did. I don't usually look at the worldwide trends, but I looked at them and I made a horrible mistake because apparently the number 2 trend right now is hashtag We Are With You, Justin, and hashtag number 5.
Because his house is getting raided.
At Beliebers Always Here for Justin.
Oh wait, is Justin Bieber finally going to jail?
His house is being raided. That's the only thing I know
what?
because all my
Exactly.
friends are making snarky comments about it.
Oh, wonderful.
But I don't know what that is about.
All my friends are making snarky comments about Justin Bieber.
And then I click the hashtag, and that's like the worst mistake ever because I just hear it's like,
bad.
that was a stupid thing to do. It's like, being a believer is a lifestyle. What the fuck? No, it isn't.
That sounds horrible. Okay, the best thing that I ever learned about Twitter is that I learned it from Tom Francis. And I looked at his Twitter thing, and the side panel was all in Mandarin. And I looked at it, and I was like, what? You can actually set your what is it called? Worldwide trends or the trends to a certain area.
Doing it
so
right
mine
now.
is set for Seoul, South Korea. So I have no idea what's said there.
Okay.
It's
nice.
hashtag Beliebers forever, except
Yeah.
Here we go.
Korean.
You learn this later.
Got it.
but-
I've got it,
but I
guys.
don't-
Dominican Republic. Santo Domingo. That's where we're going.
What are the hashtags? Hashtags booty.
Quiero ganarme los shots. PLD, New York. Santo Domingo is apparently trending in Santo Domingo. Who knew? But
Interesting.
that works. Telemundo. That's in there. There we go.
Oh.
Scotcho.
See, that's at least funny because you can
Or
kind of see
Joe.
what's going on. With any of the Asian ones, I have no idea what that language is usually like. I have no idea what Korean is. So I'm looking at it and I'm just like, wow, that's really cool. And then there might be like a promoted one, which is like, just sad in itself. But the rest of them, I don't have to worry anymore. So thank you, Tom.
Choosing all right, there we go. I've chosen my region as Nigeria and my city is Kaduna. So
Kaduna. What's going on in Kaduna?
The Kaduna existed.
Well, apparently number 5 is troublesome. So it's like, there's something troublesome occurring in Kaduna, ladies and gentlemen.
Troublesome.
Troublesome.
Who uses that word?
That's an interesting choice of word, I'm gonna say.
I'm pretty sure I've used that. I use that quite often when I'm.
Hashtag troublesome.
Troublesome.
Yeah, but we're weirdos. Like, what? I would never. Beliebers were with you, Justin. Nobody would be like troublesome unless it was like an album release.
Can we all say
Click and
we all
troublesome.
Hashtag like Believers Forever. Hashtag troublesome.
Yeah.
This is troublesome.
What
I'm a little worried about
None
this.
of this isn't actually a trend at all. It's just a lot of people use the word troublesome today. So that counts as a trend in Nigeria, apparently.
Nigeria. It's troublesome.
Tweets include all old troublesome router doused in holy water and buried within a pentagram of salt. Okay.
Yeah, no, Nigeria.
Troublesome debt consolidation, except point moreover change, ZLE. Jez saw
all
one of my
Russians
childhood
trying to
pictures
get
and
us
realized
to
I look way
subscribe?
cuter and less annoying and troublesome. It's like, all right then.
This is great.
This is fantastic. I could spend all day looking at this stuff. It's way better than seeing this Justin Bieber shit all over my fucking feed.
It's okay.
Never mind.
You're welcome, game
One day he'll
designers
be
who come up
dead.
with good ideas.
That was a good idea. I'll go with that.
South Korea.
El booty scorcho. What are we talking about?
Scotcho, six gerbils,
Scorcho
swanky
booty.
panky. Old fast show references from the 90s that nobody understands. All right. So that's the games you've been playing, Jesse. Slicey Slicey and Diablo.
I mean, the fascination with Marlo Briggs continue. I still don't
That
understand.
fucking game.
I still don't understand the game, but I love it. I don't. People are like, it reminds me of PlayStation era. I'm like, it does.
Yeah, it really
does.
fucking does.
In the bad way?
No, in a very good way. So Marlo Briggs is kind of like, I'd say an indie ripoff of God of War, but that it actually
exactly, yeah.
it stands on its own merits because it has the most ridiculous 90s plot ever. And thrown in with that, it has this.
Hold on.
It has a smart talking Mayan mask, for God's
That's
sake.
the best part of the game. Yeah.
That's the best bit of it.
I don't know that it has a plot. Here's
it
the plot
does.
of the
It
game.
definitely has
In
a
the first
plot.
5 minutes, Marlo Briggs shows up and he's like, oh man, it's so hot here. And his girlfriend, who's basically Hispanic Elena Fisher, is like, oh Marlo, you took your break to come with me. And he's like, yeah, girl, I'm so happy to be here. She's like, your job as a firefighter, you must know a lot about heat. And he's like, yeah, I do. They go meet the bad guy, who's basically every Asian in every movie / video game ever. I don't remember the guy's name, but it's him. You recognize the voice immediately. He's the dad in Kung Fu Panda. He's the little duck dad. And he was in the lawn. He's right. And he's covered his shen in Diablo. He's that guy. And he's like, oh, I'm a horrible stereotype, and now I'm gonna kill you. And you immediately get murdered in the first 2 minutes, and then you come back through the power of Mayan magic,
Indeed.
and then you go start killing. And that's the plot. That is legit the plot of the game.
And for some reason, there are these kind of giant mining machines on wheels, and with half an hour into the game, you're flying through the air upside down on this platform that has exploded, and then you
flew off a platform. It's
What?
And then you do ridiculous stuff where you're collecting, you're hanging upside down from a helicopter while collecting orbs. It's fucking ridiculous. And every time the Mayan mask sees something modern, he makes up some kind of Mayan mystical explanation for it being there, which makes it even better.
And he's crazy. I think it's Steve Bloom. I don't know who the voice actor is, but he does. He has like the Steve Bloom voice, but every once in a while does like, oh, like that laugh. But TB's right. There's this one part where there's this giant machine, and your character's like, oh man, enough of this shit. And the mind, he's like, where does this thing come from? The mind mass is like, I don't know. Maybe it's Sick Quack Clack Clack, the god of tricks. But he doesn't appear to have corn coming out of his head.
Yeah, it just came out of this. It's like, this one was really a weird line. Like, the line's just coming up on the footage now. It's going to be delayed in the stream, so you won't be able to see it quite yet for the guests here. But this is what happens. He hears a forecast, it's like, hide! We have angered Bolatiku, god of the 9th circle of hell. He will bury us underneath the nearest ball court if he finds us. And then he's like, relax, it's just a foghorn. And I'm like, what? Like, what?
It's a beautiful thing. Like, that's the best part of the game. Also, something I didn't know is there's like the background is overly detailed and unnecessarily so. There's a moment where you're on one of those big giant, like, it's basically the thing from Fern Gully, just ripping up the forest.
Yeah.
And you're on that, but there are workers also on the so there are guys trying to kill you, but they're also workers with like hard hats, just standing around watching you like swing and jump and murder guys. And it's like, what do these guys think?
That reminds me of the old brawlers. You remember stuff like Streets of Rage and all that stuff where they had the background characters that just kind of cheering on the fighting and the death. It's like that.
It's like they're on their break. They're like, oh, enough of this shit. I ain't even got that. They're just in the background watching you like, oh, yeah, no, he's killing those guys. Oh, that's awful. It's a ridiculous game.
Shocking thing about it is you'd think it would be just terrible, right? Because it's like, oh, this is a blatant God of War ripoff in the sense that it does the fighting almost identical. It even has the red orbs and everything like that. But the fighting system is surprisingly good at what it does. And it's actually a competent ripoff. And with the ridiculous, cheesy storyline and dialogue, it's actually worth a play. It's like $10. And it's pretty good.
I'm confused about where the mask comes into it. So you come back alive and then you just have mask.
All right. So let me explain it to you. You see, after you're brutally murdered by the Asian version of Indiana Jones, Asian female version, you're stabbed with like basically a God of War weapon, and your girlfriend's taken off because she's got to finish her job, and so they burn down the camp yet somehow leave you there. So the camp's on fire and you're just still where you were, and the mask that just happens to be on the weapon comes to life, and it's like, oh, rise, spirit warrior, attaches to your face, brings you back from the dead. Then, as you start murdering everyone at the camp, the mask pops off and then becomes you. Like the mask flies onto your face, so you're the mask watching Marlo Briggs do all the shit that Marlo Briggs is doing.
Yeah.
So that's literally the plot. Okay. There is maybe 3 minutes of plot in this game, and the rest of it is you're chasing down your girlfriend who's being held captive. And she leaves you notes that are like, Marlo, please do not follow me. And Marlo's like, I'm still going to follow you. But she keeps leaving you notes. Like,
they allowed me this note. It's actually because I've run off with the drug cartel master. Please don't follow me.
She drops them down on the ground. And it's a thing. It's a really silly game.
Really silly.
Was the mask existing before it was on the spear? My thought is that, like, if he's confused about foghorns, then you awakened the mask.
Yes, you did. Yes, the mask.
I think that's somehow what happened
Yes.
there. Yes, like he views every
You're
modern
asking
thing,
too many damn questions
like helicopters as like unholy winged beasts from the eighth circle of hell and stuff like that. You know, that's the kind of explanations he comes up with, and that's like the coolest thing about the dialogue. To be fair, it's the only cool thing about the dialogue. So. It's just
I would actually prefer to have the winged beasts, though. Can we do that instead? Because God of War was cool because it was like mythology. This one was just like, that's a helicopter, but we call it mythology.
For like the first 2 hours, it's mostly just giant insects, unfortunately, and random dudes with guns.
It's probably the most action-packed game I have ever played, though. Like, literally, it's just action the whole time.
Oh, yeah. It never stops.
Yeah.
It's just like, what stupid thing can we throw at you next for hours and hours?
The only time it does stop is during the, I want to say story moments, but it's not really story. It's slow motion, like Marlo jumping, camera moves behind like a block, and then it shows another scene, but it's slow motion still. It's not even like, you could have murdered those guys real time in game way faster than the story that they just tried to tell you.
Yes.
It's like,
Really?
this is stupid as shit.
Absolutely.
It's an old feeling game. And I kind of love it. So
I appreciate that. You know,
Great.
there are. This was the year of games taking themselves way too seriously and pretending to be more than they were. And Marlo Briggs comes out and is like, "We're a video game. Fuck yeah!"
if you're in chat and you're like, "Man, Marlo Briggs, I'd love to see that," you can go watch it on my channel. I'm playing it right now.
Don't ruin it for yourself. Don't watch his channel. Buy it instead.
Just watch it. Just watch it.
No, he ruins the dialogue.
No, I don't. I know when to shut up in games, unlike some people.
Ooh.
I never shut up ever, so if there's talking in games, then I'll just zero fucks given.
That works for
I'm a big
98% of YouTube channels, so I don't really see the problem there.
I'm
Yeah.
a big nerd. I don't like to talk over dialogue. I want to know what they're saying. I'm like, hey, I'm playing this game. I want to know what to say. Sometimes I can't help it. Like in Metal Gear Solid, when I saw Ludacris, I was like, is that Ludacris? It was Ludacris. You're basically Fast and the Furious in Metal Gear. You have a Fast and
Hang on. Is it actually ludicrous?
No,
Genuinely,
it's I'm trying to think of the actor's name. He's in like every cartoon ever made. But no, it's not Ludacris. It just looks like him. It looks like
If they actually got ludicrous for that game, it would just take it to the next level,
Yeah,
I think. And you know, I wouldn't even be surprised because it's it's Platinum doing whatever they usually do.
Doesn't he already have a video game, Luda?
Ludicrous?
Or am I thinking 50 Cent?
I think it's 50 Cent.
50 Cent.
Yeah.
50 Cent.
That
Hey,
game's not bad. That game's not bad.
50 Cent actually has three video games, by the way. I can tell you about 50 Cent's video games because I had to sell them while I was at fucking Game, and all the like 12-year-old little wannabe gangster kids came in trying to buy 50 Cent's video game. And I just took great pleasure in not selling it to them. It was kind of great. Yeah, he did
like
50
mature?
Cent Bulletproof, which was his first game, which is funny because
that one sucked.
decidedly not bulletproof in that game. Like, he dies pretty fast.
If you want to play a game that very few people play, but definitely deserves to play, 50 Cent Blood on the Sand.
Yeah.
Play that shit. It is actually really good.
That's
And it's
actually a
really-
good game. Yeah. It was apparently never meant to be a 50 Cent game originally, but so like the guys came in and said, you know, we've got this license for 50 Cent, so they reworked an existing game which was about like kind of taking out terrorists in the Middle East. So they just made 50 Cent go and take out terrorists in the Middle East. It was fucking awesome.
It's amazing. It's a really fun.
So we should conscript our gangsters, is what we're saying.
You might as well. They're apparently bulletproof, so you know why
we like
not?
to pop caps. Let's
Yes,
do
they
this.
do. They do like the pop capping, so they're particular fans of Plants vs Zombies. But it's a good game. Like, if you can get Blood on the Sand for $5 at like a second hand or whatever, you should get it solely because it's just that fucking stupid.
All right, I just want to point out that I owned this game and did not realize it was co-op, which is really weird. I haven't played in so long. You can play as one of the other members of G Unit. I just want to point that out for
I don't
everyone
even know
who...
any of the members of G Unit, so this
Oh
doesn't
my
help me in
God.
any way.
What was his name? DJ Woo something. DJ Woo. I
DJ
don't know.
Woo something, yeah, that famous guy.
Yo-Yo. Isn't there a dude named Yo-Yo?
He's got the
Look,
funky
it's been a
fresh
long
beats.
time.
DJ Woo something.
It's been a long time. There's someone named Woo and someone named Yo-Yo. Look, I don't know the G. It's been
Woo and Yo-
It's been so long.
It sounds like flavors of ice cream. Ben and Jerry's
Froyo.
Yo-Yo. Delicious.
Dude, it's a fantastic game. So if you
Yo-Yo.
enjoy popping caps,
Yep.
Popping caps.
Definitely.
And some random terrorists and
Yep.
stuff.
Pretty much. The sole reason you're doing any of this is because they stole my skull, bitch.
They should put him back in time. They should send him
Yeah.
to go to Nazi Germany. That's all I'm saying. 50 Cent.
50 Cent
Like,
caps
it's
Hitler. Yeah.
Get on that.
And then starts off with like an entirely new dictatorship of his own and ruins the timeline forever. It would be perfect.
He would.
If there's any
Everyone's,
rapper
like,
I'd want to
sitting
send back
down
in time, it would be 50
wait,
Cent.
wait. Can I just read you? I had to go look up who they were. First off, G Unit is Tony Yayo, Lloyd Banks, and DJ Woo Kid. So that's who it is. Anyway,
Someone's in chat's like DJ Waifu. I'm like, what?
DJ Woo Kid. Anyway, so
Actually correct.
Oh,
I was
jeez.
very close. I was very close.
Not bad.
So
Your
so
rap
here's-
knowledge is a level above the rest of us, Jesse.
What can I say? Man, I taught in the inner city. I had to know this shit. So here we go. Are you ready for this?
All right.
Besides the fact the game is set in an urban war zone in an unnamed Middle Eastern country, here's the plot. After the concert, a promoter, Anwar, is unable to pay them $10 million as promised, but he relents after being threatened. However, instead of cash, he gives them a diamond and pearl encrusted human skull. This is promptly stolen by a paramilitary group led by the terrorist Kamal. 50 Cent, with the help of selected G Unit partner, decides to get it back at any cost. And soon, they find out there's a much bigger enemy than Kamal. That's the plot. He needs his diamond encrusted human
Bitch
skull
stole
back.
my skull is the plot. That's it.
But they go to a place and they don't say where it is, so it's just like, oh, we have to go somewhere, and then I guess it just
At
shows like a
least.
montage of them flying to
I love
Middle East.
Oh, no, you
the
don't get that
recent
shit.
trend of making up names of countries is just ridiculous. It's like it's been really getting into a lot of television shows I've been watching lately. It's like,
Yes.
there appears to be some unrest in Tagabakabikistan. I'm like, no, this is not authentic. Come on, stop making. You can't just add "stan" to the end of random letters and pretend it's a Middle Eastern country.
We're
that
verifying
is-
via Twitter and their troublesome hashtag.
Troublesome Stan.
Something.
There we go.
Kazakhstan,
Political unrest.
man, I'm telling you, it is hashtag troublesome out there. So much. That's like, in Metal Gear, I don't know what the name of the place is. It's like in Metal Gear, it's called like Ascotobia or some shit. It's like in a little island. It's like
Wow,
the Emirates,
that's
like,
Ace Combat
Ascotobia.
level of ridiculous.
This is stupid shit.
Grace
At least in Ace
Maria.
Combat-
Like, no.
At least in Ace Combat, you could tell they didn't just change one name; they changed all the names.
Yes.
So it was like, all right, so that is fake Russia, and that's fake America, and that's fake Germany. We get it.
Yeah.
We get what you're talking about now. I don't like it when it's like in Metal Gear, they do my favorite like Japanese anime trope where it's like, so you're American. How does that feel? And it's like, I've never been a part of America. I'm my own man. I'm a man of the world, and I do what I want. And he's like, wow, so you have no ties back to the U.S.? No, I don't like it there. But I'm also from there, but I don't care. It's like, oh my God. I see what you're doing. I see what you're
Glory
doing,
to
guys.
Astotska.
Glory to Rostocka.
Indeed. All right, we're going to take a quick break, folks. When we come back, I don't even think we finished our first section, so I have no idea what's going to happen. We'll be right back, folks. You're watching the Co-optional Podcast. Don't go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Co-optional Podcast.
Hi.
Hopefully,
Can I like to
enjoyed
I like
your
to
break.
retract something I said earlier.
Okay.
Apparently, there is a place called Abkhazia. It does exist.
Okay.
And it's not made up in the Metal Gear universe. Here's the thing, though. Don't name your country / area something that sounds like it's a made up video game place. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Did the country come before video games?
I don't.
Irrelevant.
It's not even a country.
You're done.
Don't
It's a
ruin this with your
disputed
facts.
territory. Oh shit, that's Metal Gear. How very topical. It's a disputed territory on the eastern coast of the Black Sea. So it considers itself an independent state, but it is not right now. Here's the thing, though. This game is set in the future, and in the future it is. Although it's ruled by an evil junta, so sorry, Abkhazia. Not looking good. Not looking good. Not looking good for you.
Fantastic.
When a junta is in charge, you know you've screwed up.
I
Not
don't even
very
know what that
often
word
are-
means. And I consider
not very
myself
often
a
are you
word
run by
person.
a junta.
I like
Is
that
this the
word person.
worldliest of the podcasts that we've ever had, where Nigeria is troublesome and
It is
Abkhazia
troublesome.
exists? Is it just a new geography? one that we're talking about now?
Am I right in thinking, by the way, that Raiden in that game is actually originally Lebanese, Jesse?
Liberian.
Okay, yes, not Lebanese. All right.
And it's if you know the plot of the Metal Gear games, then he was basically an abused child. He's had a rough life, that
Lovely.
guy. So, yeah, he's not necessarily the best lives. But I'm gonna save Metal Gear topics for when we do our discussion later.
Oh, wonderful.
Instead, I'm gonna eat this delicious Greek yogurt. It's like normal yogurt, but they say that I should eat it.
Who's they? Marketers?
Krendor tells me this is what I should be eating.
The Hunter said you must eat it.
He yells at me. I don't know why. He's like, "Why don't you eat that yogurt?" I'm like, I don't know. So that's what I
Krender
mean,
doesn't sound like that, homie.
No, he's also never yelled at anyone ever, so that's a lie. Plus,
you don't know the real Krendor. He
apparently
is
not.
off the chain.
He's used caps on Twitter to me like twice.
Holy shit. That's a scandal.
Because I was yelling to begin with, but I'm pretty sure
it's your fault then. All right. I was going to say.
I know.
Krendor is the most innocent,
what...
apathetic person in the world. Like, you can only spur him to action through gross incompetence.
Oh, I didn't say he was angry. I just said he used caps. So there might have been some aforementioned yelling. But
I see. I see. Suddenly got serious.
And yes, you
all
have
of
to take a
sudden.
drink, chat. Drink. You.
yeah, we're eating just so you can drink
rummy.
more.
That doesn't
You're
count. The laws say it's a dodger only. The laws passed down
on.
by the great Hunter.
Hold on.
I took over for that
She's
one.
been our dodger. She's been dodgering this podcast.
I don't know if
need
she's
you
been
to find something to
dodgering.
eat. Find something to eat and then eat it.
I'll give these to you through the internet. Eat these almonds. They are delicious.
Wow.
They do look delicious.
Did that work?
They're delicious.
I don't think that's how it works. I don't, ladies, I don't know that's how that works.
Would that be so cool though?
It'd be amazing.
I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, what if I didn't have to leave my bed and I'll just get food?
Yeah.
And then I'm just like,
What if I don't have to leave my bed and I'll just get food?
JP McDaniel
shit.
sent me the most violent of chocolate, which is, of course, the Terry's Chocolate Orange.
Will you mash it? Mash it.
Yeah, you know, back in the day, these have been around in England for a very long time. They're very much an English thing. They eventually came over to the US. And originally it said tap and unwrap. Now, everyone that's ever eaten one of these things knows that tap ain't gonna do shit. You need to smash this thing. It is a very violent piece of candy, but if you get to smash it a good few times, and then it actually comes to pieces. It's quite cathartic, really. I like it.
I found a pumpkin spice one. It was delicious.
Pumpkin spice chocolate orange.
Yeah. It was just which is funny because like when they brought them here, there were the oranges, but we were
Yes.
just like chocolate oranges. That's weird. So there was a raspberry one too, so
Americans.
you could get the raspberry. And then I found a pumpkin
Raspberry?
spice.
What the fuck?
I know, but like chocolate raspberry is kind of our thing here. So chocolate orange was
Yeah.
like, that's weird. We like your customs, but we don't like them that much. So then we decided to make it our own. But the thing is that when you had those, they still had the imprint of the orange. So it still made no sense. So you have this thing that you're slamming, but it still looks like an orange. And you're just like, why?
It's genetically modified, just like everything else in this damn country.
I
pumpkin
desperately
spice
want to
orange.
know what you meant by "we love your customs," but this. What English customs were you referring to that are so that we love?
Go on.
We love your customs. Like,
No, it's obviously the chocolate orange. We're like, what a novel idea. But imagine if it wasn't an orange at all. And everyone's like, wait, no, that's part of that's fine. We'll just raspberry it.
The
sell
Terry's
it.
Chocolate Orange is England's greatest cultural export. It's the only thing we've ever done right in the world. That you can throw it at people, and it actually hurts a lot. This thing weighs a ton, you know, you could do some damage with this.
It's pretty epic.
Yeah. I never got around to talking about what I've been playing this week.
All right.
what have you been playing this week?
Well, outside of Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, which was okay, I played Nidhogg.
Yes.
That's a great game. That's
Yes.
a fun game.
I played Nidhogg, and
Yeah.
I played it against the misses. I played against the AI for a bit, and it's like, the AI is surprisingly human-like, I tend to find. It's quite shockingly so. It's difficult to tell whether or not it's a human fighting you or not. Although, I think maybe the AI is a bit better than a human, so I think you can tell that way. It's like, oh, he's successfully parrying my stuff. All right, okay, it's not a real person then. But I played it with Jen, and that's where things started to get interesting. was for 15 minutes, we had riotous fun on stream with this thing. She picked it up within about 2 seconds, and we just murdered each other for 15 minutes straight. In all manner of different ways. You know, pushing into the lava, strangling, throwing swords, you know, all sorts of really cool stuff. At one point, she ran onto my sword, and I just kind of, because you can impale the person with the sword through the stomach, and you can just kind of slightly move around. It's just like, they just bleed all over the stage. It's fantastic.
Marriage.
And then, funnily enough, after 15 minutes, she's like, so is that it? I'm like, well, I guess. It's like, how much is this game? And I said, $15. She's like, what? She is the coupon clipper of the family, so I guess that makes sense. But the argument she made was that there just wasn't enough to the game to justify that kind of money. And I disagree strongly on that. I think it's
do as well.
Absolutely phenomenal.
There's also the people who are just like, oh man, well, like, what shitty graphics? And you're like, no. Okay, you don't understand the game then. Like, the idea is that it's a simple game where you can have a million methods of play, and that's what's fantastic about it, is actually playing against another person and having that kind of arena battle feel to it, which is always what it's done best. It's a great spectator sport. Anytime I go anywhere, ever from like 3 years ago when I was at like E3, I was watching it and I was like, man, that's a really cool game. Huge group of people around it watching. Everyone's like, riveted. And then this Indiecade, same thing. And I'm like, this game isn't out yet. And they added a whole bunch of stuff like, oh God, you can wall jump now. And then there was some other stuff, which is really cool. But just like, it became this, like, it was already great and then became just even slightly more towards masterpiece. But I really do think that, like, the gameplay in itself, if you have a simple but incredible game, that's all you need. Like, if there was a story mode of it, I don't think I'd play it. I just really want to play the one where you get to shoot the things with the needles. Like, that's great. So, throwing swords at people.
Yeah, I think it's got surprising depth to it. The mechanics seem simple, but when you realize that there's that parry system, there's then the disarming system, there's a full-on melee system if you lose your weapon, so there's a bit of risk-reward. You can throw your weapon, which is obviously very dangerous, but it also might mean that you lose your weapon, so things start to change up there. I absolutely love the game. I think it's fantastic. I think it's better played in person as opposed to online, but
it's a very fun game that I played it at Evo, which is I thought was hilarious that it was there, but it had a lot of people around it.
That seems like just the right place to put it, actually.
It's a very fun game. There's a lot of mechanic stuff that's hilarious. It's a party game though, and it's one of those ones where recently there's been a lot of games that have been really creative and a lot of fun, but if you're playing by yourself, you'll get no enjoyment out of it.
Like Samurai Gun, for instance? Oh, geez.
Samurai Gun, Towerfall. Actually, no, Towerfall has a good co-op, but I'm not sure if they have a single player now. But kind of the same idea.
Yeah, there's these games that the indie world is developing that are great for parties and great for playing with people.
And then they put them on PC, which is the dumbest thing possible.
Yeah, like you're playing by yourself. And it's a little strange, but you can't hate on the game because it's fantastic. The only problem that I have, like I said, is that if you're by yourself, you're really not going to be able to play this because, like you were saying, TB, it's after a while you're just like, well, I mean, it's me repeatedly dying to the computer.
Himself,
I want to make a show.
People in the audience can't play the game.
I want to make a show called Jesse Plays with Himself.
That's pretty much every series you've ever fucking done. So.
Yeah, but this one, I mean, you know, TB.
You made me spit. Oh God,
that's generally my reaction whenever I see Jesse around the place. I'm just like,
that's right. That's right. Ladies, TB spits.
The relevance, not seeing it.
I'm going to completely skip over the Nika one to go for the better target. Look, comedy is about knowing which one to hit.
Whoa, say better target? Say that again. Say that again.
There's TB is a better target than you.
I am never going to be your DJ Woo Woo or whatever.
You can be my Yayo. You can be my Jonathan Yayo, whatever that guy's name was.
MC Waifu. Like, what?
MC Waifu.
I don't even know what's going on anymore! God damn it. We were talking about Nidhogg and then suddenly DJs happened.
Have you guys played the game Tiny Brains?
Yes.
What do you think of it?
I love Tiny Brains, but it's a game where it's a game where you have to have people. If you play by yourself, it is a stupid
waste of time. Like, Okay, so actually, yeah,
amazing.
Cheap. Explain the concept of Tiny Brains.
Basically, it's a puzzle game. Think kind of like Portal, but you're 4 players and you're all little lab animals that have different special abilities, and you all have to work together to get through the different levels. So I really loved it. I thought it was really good.
Yeah,
Is it a really long game?
A really what?
It's puzzly long.
Okay.
So
That's what? What does that even mean?
It's as long as it takes you to figure out the damn puzzles, that kind of thing. That's what I mean. Like,
How many
some
puzzles
people
are
could
there?
probably-
Let's say I'm really good at it.
Oh, I don't know because I haven't played all the way through
I
it, so I
haven't
have no
gotten
clue.
through it yet.
But
So it must be pretty long then. Yeah.
you should ask Gerard the completionist. He played that game so much they gave him an achievement in the game because he loved that game so much.
Nice.
So,
It's the-
but it's the completionist achievement. It's really funny, but it's one of those games where it's just like everything else we talked about so far. It's fun with people, with other people to control everyone else. It's a blast because the things you can do are hilarious. But
Yeah, because each character
play
has
by
an ability
yourself-
of their own.
It can be either
And so you have to
very
work together.
rage-inducing or really fun, because if the other people in your party aren't up to your level in puzzle-solving skills, it's just
Oh yeah.
can be very frustrating. But if you're playing with a good group, it's fun.
It's very co-optional because you can actually kill people very easily in that game.
it's a lot of fun with people. If you're playing by yourself, it's again kind of stupid. Like there is no point. And the marketing for that game wasn't play with your friends. It was play this game that's really cute, which I think is sad because a lot of people played it and were like, this is stupid. And I feel like it deserves better than that. But that's what happens when you make a game where you have, like, it's the same thing that I felt even about Borderlands, like all the Borderland games. You play by yourself, it's not that fun. You play with people, it suddenly becomes a terrific game. And it's crazy. I don't know why that is. Also,
So
Diablo,
can you-
he was like that.
Can you play online?
Yeah.
Tiny Brains.
Uh,
Okay.
Tiny Brains you can?
Yeah.
So you can play with your friends so long as they like sync up to your game and everything, because that is awesome. But when it comes to couch play, it's like I don't even have a couch. And remember how I hate my TV? These are problems that I have to face. So I have to be
That's
invited
fucking
to someone
Samurai
else's
Gun in a nutshell. You know, I did my video today of Samurai Gun. I decided to do it because I'd done Nidhogg, so I thought, oh, Samurai Gun's been sitting on my review roster for a while. I'd best do my first impressions of that game. And it's just like, wow, this is really bare bones. So you're expecting someone on a PC to have 3 other people to play with, which is in itself ridiculous, with no online play. And your mechanics are really, really limited. And the single-player AI is just borderline brain dead. Really, really bad. To the point where I demonstrated in the video, I won the game by doing nothing. Because the AI's platforming was so bad that it kept jumping into the spikes and killing itself. So I just sat there doing nothing and won. I was like, well, this is ridiculous. But I think that I like the idea of there being games like that, but I think if you're going to release it on PC, it should be mandatory that you have an online mode. There's no way you're going to sell it otherwise. We're not in the era, a glorious era of Gaben's Steam machines, you know? We don't have a PC under our couch or whatever. And even if we did, do we have enough people in the house to actually play it? Probably not. Online play's there for a fucking reason. We don't always have access to 3 other people 100% of the time.
We don't have access to people. I like that just thing. Just
Human resources, what can I say?
It's like, come here.
It's a very corporate thing,
away.
human resources.
But it's true. You first.
No. Age before beauty.
Maybe.
Hang on a minute.
Probably. I'm probably older than you. I played at the Hey Ash house, like the Ash Institute, as it may be, and we just swapped out controllers, and we kind of played it at the same time as we did Towerfall. Towerfall, I would actually consider a lot more silly fun. Samurai Gun is like, if you're playing against really good people, it is a ferocious game. Like there were people in the house who, this is an actual competition. This is like really, really intense. Versus Towerfall, of which you can fuck up, and that could be the best time that you've ever had. Like, you could be absolutely terrible, but you'll still get those glory moments, and they might even be by accident. And I love that. So without the element of people, though, it really does sacrifice a lot of the game.
Yeah, I mean, the way that when I played it, I played it with the missus, and we played, and it was fun for that first 5 minutes. So we're like, well, this is it, really? Because we expected stuff like power-ups and different weapons, and like, there's none of that. And I went through the mechanics of it, and I was like, this has very few actual mechanics going on with it. You've got your 4-directional slice, you've got your 4-directional shot, you have parry, you can parry bullets out of the air, and there's kind of like a pogo thing you can do, and that's really about it. All of the characters are identical. So, to me, I was like, I'm having a bit of fun here, and I definitely put this on with my friends, but I think after 10 minutes, would want to just play something else. Because it seems like the skill ceiling is fairly low, because there's not that much you can actually do to differentiate yourself. But maybe I just haven't played enough of it.
I think that it actually, we played with a very high skill person, not that I'm sure how, because I never succeeded in it, but someone wiped the floor with us. And, like, there's been tournaments, and, like, it's actually, it can be, for as simplistic as the game is, that's when you really get into a lot of the mind games that are associated with fight games. And oh my God, it was really intense. So I think it was bare bones for a reason, to specifically bring out that hyper competitive aspect of it. And I think that it worked really well, but of course it wasn't really my game. I really liked it with the power-ups and the tower fall, and you get
exactly. You know, it's like I've seen like high level tower fall as well. You know, you can still be high level in that. You can be skillful, like something like dive kick, for instance. Where you take dive kick, and it's like you could be high level in that, but there's so much more variety in dive kick because each character plays completely differently. Whereas in Samurai Gun, it pretty much plays out the same way every time, and you don't really have that many options mechanically to differentiate yourself from others outside of just being flat out better than them, you know? Which can be a strength, but to me, it's just like, this is too bare bones to justify $15. You know, there's not even a tutorial, for God's sake, so even if there is some depth to the game, it doesn't tell you, so you've got to kind of figure it out for yourself. It's a bit of a pain.
I want to point out, chat said all games are better with other people. I refute that and say that is wrong. Many games, it's nice to play by yourself, and other people ruin it. So put that in your pipe and smoke it, internet.
I think what the chat actually means, though, is like, it goes back to the Borderlands argument. It's the same thing argument that I made as well, is that adding new people into Borderlands doesn't actually help it mechanically for the most part. It just means that you've got more people to share the experience with, which is in itself more fun. It's like sharing the experience of watching paint dry is more fun with people than it is on your own. That doesn't mean that it actually has good co-op.
I will refute that and say I have done that.
What?
There was a time when I painted
Hang on a minute.
apartments. There was a time long ago.
There was a time when I snorted paint fumes.
I mean, it's
And
pretty much. I think that's what happened.
Huh.
There's a there was a time back when Jesse was a teacher where I had to paint an apartment, and it might have been the room. I don't remember what happened. Something got painted. It might have been the fumes. Something got painted, and we just had to wait around because we had to get it done that day, and there was nothing else to do, so we just sat there, and there were a bunch of us. Not nearly as fun as you thought it would be. No storytelling. No relating to each other at all. It was awkward. Teachers, kids, I don't want to ruin it for you. They don't always get along with each other. So think about
was
that
it
next time
more
you're
fun
mad.
than being alone?
Oh no, if I was alone, I would have been blasting music and like having fun. When you're with people, you have to like, what music do you like? Do you like to listen to this? I don't know what. It's stupid. People are dumb. That's why I want to be a hermit and live alone. I don't like anyone.
Jesse, Forever Alone Cox.
Forever alone. You know what? I'm okay. I'm okay.
Middle name
Here's the thing. I'm okay with that. I tend to get, after about a few days, I tend to get really, I'm like, I can't. You're great. You're a great human being, but I'd rather not be around you. I think I have a problem. I think I have a problem.
For 3 days at a time?
No, I'm just saying, like, if remember when we filmed that thing for Geek and Sundry, and by the end of that, I was like, well, it's been. That was like a day. I was like, it's been I love you guys. It's been so much fun. I'm going now. Like, it was that. I was like,
everyone felt that way. It was way too long. Like, we get it. But, like,
I just want to go now. Yeah.
But there's a difference between I'm sick of you after 3 full days and versus I'm sick of you in general. Like,
oh, no, I'd be sick of you. I'd be sick of you before that, but I wouldn't have the guts to tell you till 3 days in.
Cat? Dog? Cat?
Holy shit, she
Animal?
is Dodger.
That is a gigantic cat.
Yes.
Here's what's happened today.
It's my cat.
TB's TB, Chiib is Dodger, Nika's me. I am irrelevant. Ladies and gentlemen.
I'm sorry, hang on. This is what has happened
It has been
today?
so much fun today. I'm gonna go, I don't know, watch TV. It's been fun. Mwah. Love you guys.
All right,
Is he
so
really leaving?
Oh, this has been great. Yep.
I'm gonna just hit on somebody. Yes.
Guess who's not getting paid this week? That would be Jesse.
Hey, everybody, how's it going? How's it going? Boy, am I excited to be here. Look at that fade in. Oh, man. Did you know video games are the best? You know where we should go? Polaris. I hear Polaris has a lot of great stuff over there. Also, Geek and Sundry. I hear they're pretty good. Nika's over at Geek and Sundry. That's a great place. So,
I'm just trying to figure out
go to her YouTube page. You should watch that. I hear it's awesome. So, thank you so much. I'm glad to be back, you guys. Man, today is going to be so much fun.
I've got nothing.
That was awesome.
Well,
That just happened.
apparently it did. Okay, cool. The other thing I've been playing is actually on iOS. I played Castle Doom Bad.
Again with the shitty names. Castle Doom
Doom.
Bad.
If it was
Castle Doom
Von
Bad.
Doom Bad, that would have been
Castle von Doom Bad.
Castle Doom Bad.
Yes, Castle. Okay, so Castle Doom Bad is, if I recall correctly, it's published by Adult Swim, but it's actually a game called, what's the name of the dev? Is it Grumpy Face? It might be Grumpy.
Okay, this totally makes sense now. Castle Doom Bad sounds great.
It might be.
So I'm like, that's a shit name, and I'm like, it's a great name.
It's by a company called Grumpy Face, who apparently have been involved with numerous things, including Cartoon Network. They did like I think that's a game, yeah. Present regular show Ghost Toasters. I don't know what's going on with that.
Toast.
Mutant Fridge Mayhem. They also made Super Mole Escape, which was one of the earlier Adult Swim games, as well as Bring Me Sandwiches. Which sounds pretty good. And they made a game called Castle Doom Bad, which is kind of like a tower defense mixed up with Dungeon Keeper. So you are the evil overlord. Well, you're the minion of the evil overlord of a tower who sits in the top of the tower with his controls laughing. The princess is locked up, and you power all of your stuff by the princess's screams. So screams are currency, and you put down various traps and minions and things like that to try and stop the heroes from invading, and it gets progressively more ridiculous as to what it throws at you. It throws stuff like the Command Bro, who is like a Rambo, and then there's the Sexy Knight and things like that.
Sexy Knight.
Yeah, there's a ninja that sort of climbs along the ceiling and things like that.
Is he a sexy ninja or a bro?
He's kind of a sexy ninja. Like, I'll go with that.
All ninjas sexy?
No, because you
probably
can't see
not
them.
all of
How
them.
would you know?
It's hard to assess.
I can imagine what
We need a scientific sample size, which we can't really get at this time. But it's actually really, really fun. It's more of just a standard tower defense and trap defense game. There's nothing really out of the ordinary about it, but just the presentation's really, really good. Everything feels great. You upgrade your minions, and like the first upgrade for your little minion, who's basically a dog, but looks like a evil minion, is you have a chance to spawn a fire minion that sets shit on fire, and all sorts of other cool things like that. And the currency you collect in game is called Doom Shekels, which is just fantastic.
Shackles?
Shekels.
Shekels.
Doom Shekels.
Doom Shekels.
You don't know what a shekel is?
Isn't that the screams?
No.
No, what the?
So the screams are used to build stuff, and Doom Shekels are collected to
Okay.
upgrade your stuff afterwards.
Okay. How do you make the lady scream? Is this a consistent thing where she
Yeah,
just
she's just
screams every
consistently
2
screaming
minutes?
on a regular basis.
And you can make a
Yeah,
new
pretty
one.
much.
Okay.
You can also build scream generators, which generate more screams, and occasionally if you kill
Okay.
enemies in a
is
really
this
horrible
game
way,
called?
they also scream. It's called Castle Doom Bad.
Where can I get this game?
On iOS, it's like $2. The cool thing about the game as well is that it's got microtransactions like pretty much everything now, but they're not terrible. So you buy the game, and instead of, you buy a game, it's like, here is this $99 currency pack. The most expensive thing you can possibly buy in this game is $10, and you don't need any of it whatsoever. The second currency is really just to refill your power-ups, which you barely ever use anyway, and you can also earn those currencies by doing quests, which are like, kill 10 things with flatten 10 heroes with a smasher, or, protect the princess and have her untouched by the heroes, and blah, blah, blah. So, it's fucking great. Like, it's a really nicely executed tower defense game. I've been enjoying it a lot.
Oh, it doesn't even look like, it looks like Sim Tower, though.
Well, yeah,
doesn't look
it is a tower. The guys go up the floors, and like the next wave, they might put a ladder up, so they skip the first floor and they go through the ladders and things like that. So if they're climbing up ladders, you put like an acid dripper on top of them and murder them. It's brilliant. It's really quite fun.
That is awesome. It's only $2.99.
It is only $2.99.
Fancy that.
Yep, it's iPad and iPhone. I do not know if it's on Android as of yet, but
Makes me sad. I have Android.
Yeah, me
I
too.
don't know if it's on Android. Probably not. I'll double check.
It probably isn't. Usually they're not.
Every Android thing is listed under hacks, gold, and money cheats and shit like that, so that means it's probably not on Android. But it'll most likely get there eventually.
Great. Castle Doom bad.
Castle Doom bad. Yeah.
Okay.
Had a lot of fun with that. It reminds me of Dungeon Keeper, except it's not the terrible Dungeon Keeper that EA is trying to force on us right now. Oh, God. Talk about raping my childhood. That is a game that, frankly, was absolutely amazing, and they've decided, you know what, we're going to make it cartoony, and we're going to add microtransactions into it and put it on iOS. And I'm like, fuck you, EA! That is just awful.
Yeah, that's what they do for most things, isn't it?
Yes, they have a tendency of doing that.
So, you know that last time I was all about the Deus Ex handheld game. Like, I was like, it's
Deus Ex
fun, I
Reform?
guess.
Yeah.
I just found out that I guess it's very similar, the game Republic, which was
Yes,
kickstarted.
Republic. Yep.
My dear friends over at Game Tease helped develop like the poster for shit in that. I am gonna get that right now.
When you talking about that 2 weeks ago, and you said, I'm going to get that right now.
I keep forgetting this stuff.
Go
I keep
on.
saying I'm gonna do it, and then I don't. Look, Jonathan, Total Biscuit Bane.
I'm well aware that you don't follow through and you frequently disappoint people. You never show up on time for sound checks.
Needed a call. Yeah, I was like, you forgot it was.
I had to have one of my guests call you to
Tweeted you.
get your lazy ass on camera.
Can I just say, without even knowing it was Nika, Nika called, and I go, "Hello, beautiful." she was like, "What?"
No, because I couldn't hear you because I had like this, and then he's talking.
To be fair,
me
I
about-
always do that whenever he's around. It's like, just stop it.
So he was talking about how the show was gonna go, and so I'm sort of listening to both, and you're just like, "How do you?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Get on the fucking internet."
I like to point out that I was so confident that at 11:30 in the morning a woman was calling me that I could just go, "Hello, beautiful."
It would be your
I
dad,
felt
most
like no
likely.
matter what, it'd be an angry comment, like, "Jesse, where are you?" Like, "Hello, beautiful." Like, I had to go
you had to.
because I knew I was in trouble. No one calls me at 11:30 unless it's an angry woman. What are you doing? You're doing it wrong. Hang up. Story of my life.
That took a dark turn. All right, yeah, so that's been pretty much about it. I don't want to talk anymore about EA because it upsets me. So let's talk about Sony, who may also be upsetting. Let's talk about PlayStation Now, as they're now calling it.
Oh my God.
Also
You know
known
what?
as, what is cloud gaming?
That was it. That was the end of the.
No, okay.
We had nothing else.
Yeah, no, this is Sony's version of cloud gaming called "We aren't ever going to let you play old games again, but you
Properly.
can if you buy them and download them." Which, here's the thing, I know people are going to be like, "Brr, I hate playing and I want to own my game still." I don't want to say this. I am okay with it. I said it. I'm done. I'm done, internet. You can hate me all you want. I'm okay with it. I want to be able to download and play, like, coming up in October, I think is the 20th, 10th, something anniversary of Ace Combat 5. And I was like, I'm live streaming that shit. But that would mean I have to go get a PlayStation 2, go find that game again, do all that shit. If I can re-download it for like $5, I'm okay with that. I know the world's gonna hate me for it, but I'm okay with that. I put those games behind me, and if I want to buy it again, so be it. But I'm okay with having one console instead of having 12 hooked up to my TV. That's all I'm saying.
I did that with PSP. The PSP, like not the new one. What the hell is that thing called? But the first PSP, there was like a
Vita.
download play. Yeah,
The PlayStation Right Vita.
Not a Vita. I don't have it. I want it. But like with the PSP thing, you can get like all these games that I either missed out on or like super missed because, well, in order to use the PlayStation, you have to like put it slightly to the side. Like you have to tip it upright like this because the thing was dying and I was like, but I just really need my Spyro.
Do a
right
pentagram
now.
of salt around it and sacrifice a virgin in order to get the damn thing to boot?
Yeah, and the funny thing is that, like, you know, like my family would come into the room and look at that and be like, "You're misusing your electronics," and I'm like, "The electronics works right now. You have no idea what this means. Like, you, when have you ever touched this PlayStation?"
I feel we're discovering
So-
some deep-seated psychological issues here. Please go on.
Okay, but like I felt that it was absolutely worth it to have like a $6 version of Spyro that I can take with me and always and on like special little PSP. And so I really, really liked having that. Now, if they actually use that for PS4, that seems really, really cool. But I'm a little bit perplexed about the streaming quality. I thought streaming was a thing in the past. I thought, like, did we resurrect it and try again? Is that what they're doing?
Well, we did bankrupt on live, so yeah, that was a bit of a problem there. But the thing is, I think they bought Gaikai before that even happened, so they probably invested so damn much in it, they do believe it is the way to go. And unfortunately, it's also the way to go towards complete and total control on the manufacturer's end as to how you experience your games. Because you might as well kiss everything else goodbye. I suppose on a console it doesn't matter as much because, you know, if you're playing on a console, you get whatever experience you get, and there's nothing you can really do about that. Yeah. But for PC in particular, it terrifies me, you know, not being able to dive into the config files and fix something that I think is broken, and like something like Dark Souls coming out and having somebody come and fix that terrible fucking piece of shit port. That's the kind of thing that can't happen with cloud gaming. Not to mention the fact that I have a feeling cloud gaming is going to be yet another step backwards in terms of frame rate, because I somehow doubt that we're going to be seeing a lot of stuff streaming at 60 frames per second. It's all going to be more fucking 30, which is utterly unacceptable for next gen, but they insist it's okay.
But with the games that they'd be offering right away, wouldn't those games be the old ones that would have run on 30 anyway?
No, a lot of those games ran at 60, honestly. Like, you'd be surprised. Pretty much all of the 2D games were all running at 60. Some of the 3D ones, yeah, absolutely, they were running at 30, and that's the way of it. But, I mean, let's be honest, who's going to go back and play 3D stuff from the PlayStation 1 era? It looked fucking awful. Not to mention, controlled terribly.
Someone just was talking about Spyro the Dragon.
Spyro?
I would still play the shit out of those games. Plus, I never played Parasite Eve all the way through. And there's Dino Crisis. Anyway.
Oh, Parasite Eve. Oh, my God.
I actually do have that on my PlayStation Vita. I downloaded that to play it.
There's a lot of good
places to play again. So does this, I mean, I feel like there's two things here that it would work for. And this is, I'm just throwing this out there. If you live in the middle of nowhere. Well, yeah, that. But I mean, like, the actual... Now, if you live in the middle of nowhere and you don't have access to games that you can get like right away, or you, I don't even know. I guess I don't know two things that this is good for. I thought I did. I guess I don't. I mean, what does this do to something like GameStop though? Does this?
Oh, who gives a fuck? Like, I gotta say, like, are we really worried about? I mean, GameStop is going to die eventually, because eventually we will be fully digital. It will be only used for hardware, and that won't be enough to keep it alive. And GameStop will have to retool drastically or just die off. It's like, you know, what happened to Blockbuster? Blockbuster is dead. Like, is anyone really mourning that? Not really. It was a business.
Notice.
No, not at all. It's like, okay, it's sad. It's sad that there are lost jobs. Okay, I get that. But you can't preserve businesses solely on the basis of we might lose jobs. Like, if the business is based on archaic technology that no one wants to use anymore, you can't just prop that up. You've got to fucking adapt or die.
But then doesn't that limit how we can, like, I think in the end we come down to the same problems that people had with Steam, when Steam was like, hey, we're gonna give you all these games, and it's like, but you don't really own them, so, you know, tough shit. You're just borrowing them. The less people to sell you things, eventually we're buying everything from Sony and Microsoft, and then we play by their rules, right?
Well, yeah, so, I mean, that's definitely a concern. That's why I was quite excited to hear that Amazon was actually able to start selling PS4 stuff digitally, yeah? Not even just the box copies, because they got an agreement to do that. The problem is that if it does go fully digital, yes, there's a massive amount of control on the end of Microsoft and Sony, way, way more than we had previously, so I don't know if that will result in... Because, I mean, Steam's got pretty much a monopoly right now on the market outside of free-to-play titles, so we get a lot of Steam sales, but would that happen with Sony and Microsoft? Humble. It's hard to say.
Humble's the other one. Humble's actually moving up the ranks of getting your stuff from there. They've opened up the store.
Is really the deals on the Humble store are pretty fucking good at times. Green Man Gaming as well. Admittedly, Green Man Gaming's more of just a Steam reseller, and they don't have all the stuff that Steam has, but more often than not, you can get about 20-25% off it with a coupon code. So
it's good games? GOG?
Green Man Gaming.
GOG, yeah.
GMG.
I don't know Green Man Gaming, but GOG is another one where it's like they came out with some of the older stuff that you couldn't find anywhere.
Yeah.
Now they're coming out with new stuff, but it's like, oh, I might as well get it on Steam because like there's an actual client for that, etc. So I like that better. But still, like the deals that you could get from there and the amount of content that you get. So there are other online retailers which are kind of in that sphere right now, but I don't think any of them are really coming out like super, super strong. I think they're going to be another couple of years before they're really, really epic. I think that Humble's probably the closest right now, though. And
I think the thing about Steam, the scary thing about Steam is I read a recent article on, I think it was Gamma Sutra, it was either that or gamesindustry.biz, by the developer of Cook Serve Delicious. And he wrote up about the success of his indie game, and like the first few paragraphs of him just telling like he's barely sold anything, he's doing really, really bad, and then it's like, and then I got greenlit, and then I released on Steam, and suddenly $250,000. I'm like, how the fuck do you compete with that? Like, his game was out on every other platform other than Steam, and it was selling maybe $1,000 a month worth of copies at most. Came out on Steam, suddenly he's like drowning in cash and has enough to develop his next game. Like,
and that's
no one is going to be able to ever compete with that. Steam is a promotional platform even more than it is just a store. Just being on Steam puts you up front.
I also think that I'm glitching out a little bit, so forgive me if I just stop.
So am I. A little bit, yeah.
Okay, so
that's fine. I can see all of you. It's fine.
I was thinking that, like, you know, Humble has that same ability, but I think that the Steam client, I mean, we're going on 10 years now, and because you jump into that to get your game, like Steam, you have to have a Steam account, and if you get locked out of your Steam account, you're screwed. Humble gives you the game, but it doesn't give you that same promotional tool of you can find everything in this client, including new deals, including new stuff that comes out. So there is that trade-off there. I do love getting, like, you know, codes from both. I think that they're both really, really epic and really cool at this point, but there's the lack of flexibility that you're going to get with sales, especially on Humble. But also Humble is a lot more easy to give away codes on. So for instance, a lot of my game dev friends are, whenever I ask for a code for something, it's just Humble codes, like straight to hell.
We get a lot of
awesome.
we even get review code through Humble. It's a lot easier. Apparently there's more limitations on like giving out Steam codes and things like that. But there's a point that you brought up there which I find very interesting, which is that people generally will, when given the choice between DRM free and Steam, will buy Steam 99% of the time, which is really weird because you think, why are you handing away rights? Yeah?
It's not weird. That's people like convenience. Convenience is easier.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
so
GOG
you mean the kind of
consistently has GOG consistently has almost the exact, like if there's a sale on Steam, they will have the exact same sale on GOG. And GOG, you can own that game and you download it and it's yours to keep forever. And there is no like weird DRM thing, but people enjoy the convenience. They're like, oh, I'm just gonna go on Steam and get it. And
most of the time they do go on Steam and get it. And this brings up the rather interesting point that links right back into this discussion. Yes, I was getting there, which is, people love convenience, like, say, a streaming service that allows you to play games instantly and not have to worry about installing them, not even have to worry about buying them. They're talking about a subscription service like Netflix style for this thing. So, as much as we doubt the idea of that, will people actually just jump on it for that reason?
It depends on the quality of the stream. We haven't seen it yet. Or even if we have, we still don't trust it. I've been to so many OnLive booths where I'm looking at this thing and I'm just like, okay, yeah. So where's the wool over my eyes here? And even if it works, we're still not ready to make that switch, that change yet. Like that our input is actually going to an external server, going to space, coming all the way back, like and making a cohesive experience that's like literally no lag.
Well, I mean, I can't rely on Time Warner not to fuck up. I mean, it's already fucked up several times during this stream. I'm more pixely than I should be here for no reason. None. Like, the stream is rock solid, and I haven't, according to my stats here, I haven't dropped a single frame on this end, but like apparently Twitch dropped like 2 minutes worth of frames in the middle of this show where everyone had frozen, but the sound was still working. Like, this is entirely outside of my control. I can't, there's no ISP I can switch to make it better. This is literally the best I can get in this area. There's no change. So that's, I mean, and it even does affect Netflix at times. For some reason, at sometimes Netflix just doesn't work the way it should. It's like, I should be running 1080p here, and I'm getting 360 for no fucking reason. And that is only amplified when you're dealing with an interactive medium.
I was just complaining about that the other day on Twitter. I was saying that my PlayStation 4, I was trying to watch a movie, and I don't remember what the hell movie it was, but I was trying to watch it and it kept literally saying like, there's an error with this movie, cannot complete, whatever it was doing.
Yeah, I've had that before. And it's like, what error? You were just playing it a minute ago.
Literally down the hall. It's not even like 50 feet away. I'm just like, this is insanity. And so I then put in the Xbox, which is right next to it. Neither are plugged in. They're both wireless. Xbox, it ran fine. And I was like, this is the kind of nonsense where, depending on which you're using, when you're using it, it might work or might not. And I'm like, oh, Lord. If everything's streaming, that's what we have to deal with. And who knows?
If it becomes the only way to play games, that will be a problem. Like, if it's an alternative, I'm okay with that. Oh, right, okay. For some reason, in the middle of my Parasite Eve game that I was streaming, it fucked up. All right, it's annoying, but it's not terrible. I can just go back and play games in a regular way. But if it becomes the only thing, fuck that. I wouldn't want to touch consoles with a 10-foot barge pole. I can't trust them.
Yeah,
I would hope.
like there at least needs to be an alternative to this experience, and better if that actually works out, because there's nothing more frustrating than being told you can't play a game that you certainly want to. In the same way that when Netflix cuts out, like maybe something about that, like I've had my internet go down in the middle of a movie that I didn't even really want to watch. I was halfway through it, so I really wanted to see if there was something redeeming about it. I'm still mad. I didn't like the movie. I sat through it. I had a good 45 minutes of sitting there going like, well, when it comes back on, at least I'll hear it. And so I like did some shit in my house, and then like when it came back on, I bumped over here and I finished. But like, it was so frustrating to be, it's killing that experience. And it relies on that experience, which is the other thing that's kind of worrisome about it. But cool if you can opt into it, because at the time, I could have just rented it or gotten the movie, but I didn't want it. It's fine. I tested it. Now, good if it's convenient, but
now it seems like PlayStation Now is just going to be an alternative service, which I'm totally fine with. It's also a way of them getting around the fact that their console is not backwards compatible, and which is kind of strange because it's not like the PS3 was backwards compatible with the PlayStation 1, and the later models weren't backwards compatible with the PS2 either. Yet they were still able to release games like you can buy God Hand on the PlayStation Network right now and play it on PS3. You can do that. So they just made it compatible that way, which I wonder, like, what's the kind of, what are they trying to do here? Because if they were already able to make those games work on the newer platforms in some way and then sell them to you for $15 each, why is it easier now for them to stream them to you? Do they have this giant supercomputer made up of 1,000 PlayStation 2s that are all stacked in? They got a little robot. It's like that scene out of Hackers where you see the videotapes? It's like that. There's this little robot that puts in Spyro right there. There's this giant wall of PlayStation 2s. And then
that's the one I'm going to stream off of, the one with the Spyro in it. Maybe it is like what you said. Like they had already invested so much in the whole Gaikai system that they already bought them out.
Yeah.
Maybe just go with it. Just see if it works. And if it works, it might actually be more useful for them. They probably know more about it, unfortunately, than we do. But it would be really cool to hear like something about this that explains their process a little bit better, too. Because I'm always on the business side of things. So I'm always like, yeah, tell me more about how you made that decision, because that sounds crazy.
I would hope that in their decision process, in the meetings, there's at least one guy who's like, we shouldn't make this a permanent thing, like the way we deliver games, until we can do it really, really well.
Well, no, we should never, ever make that the permanent way to deliver games. No, it's a terrible idea.
In the dark dystopian future, TB,
there is only war.
Games.
Yes,
that's how you get all your games. That and robots will try to kill you. So
it's
either you go outside and get murdered by robots, or you stay indoor and stream games. It's horrible. There's no FOV slider, TB. None! That's how it ends.
It's what I must do.
You'll take the field of view and like it, damn it. Oh, God.
But the only games they have to stream are like shitty ones, like Barbie Horse Adventure. And by shitty, I mean amazing. And by amazing, I mean kill me.
The robots will do that for you. You just walk outside. When you get bored of Barbie, you just
gunned down by lasers.
They resurrect you, play more games.
This is the glorious future of PlayStation Now, guys. This is cloud gaming.
What is cloud gaming? You finally understand now.
Be
Gaming or
careful.
murder.
Some questions you do not want answered. Oh dear, no. So let's talk about the kind of subscription model of this, because I assume everyone in here subscribes to Netflix, right?
Heyo.
Yes.
I don't even know why I do.
And a lot of us have also subbed to WoW. I think all of us at one point in our life have subbed to WoW. Some of us still do.
Yeah.
So,
Well, yeah, but I like WoW better than I like Netflix. Is that weird? Okay, so
What? all right. That is weird.
I don't watch shows and I don't watch movies, but I like having the convenience of it being there.
I
But,
don't
like,
watch anything, but it's nice to have it. Like,
I don't watch
Wait,
things, but I like having that thing that I can watch.
You are the
stuff on.
ideal consumer for them. It's like, I don't use any of your bandwidth whatsoever, but here's some money.
I started though, like I started watching a couple things here and there, but I realized that I'm just so picky with the content that I do have that I get really fussed about it. So sometimes I'll like let it slip, and that goes. But I've never let my WoW subscription slip. So it's like that. I am the ideal consumer
Gotta
in
get
that
that
particular
fixed.
case, because even if I don't play for like 3 months, it's still there. Because if I get fussy if I don't have that option available. But Netflix, I'm just lazy with it, where I'm just like, yeah, sure, whatever, charge me, I guess. I mean, I'm not going to watch you. And then somehow I like get
you
to
don't have
Sherlock,
incentive.
and that's that.
You don't have incentive to watch Netflix. That's why you need an Xbox One, where you get achievements for watching Netflix.
That is the
You
dumbest
get
shit.
achievements for watching
It is-
Netflix.
I swear to God, it's the
What
best. If you get achievements for watching, like if you watch a TV show, the more episodes you watch, like it's watch 5 episodes in a row, or it's log in every day for 30 days, or rate 100 shows, and you get achievements. Xbox gives you achievements for everything. You got an achievement for logging in day 1.
That's
It was
smart.
like- They're just,
Well, I
It's the
know what,
gamification of everything.
they're just, it makes you so you're like, oh shit, I have to do this now.
That's
because I
brilliant
want all
move.
these. And then they have little things on the side. They're like, yeah, so today's challenge is go play this game you don't own and do this, and then you get a bunch of free shit for doing it. And it's like,
I really like this.
oh no.
Hang on, didn't Valve do that a lot with the kind of potato sack thing and like go play this game and buy this and then you get badges and hats and shit?
That's pretty much
that's
what
evil.
Xbox is doing.
Christmas was the same, which was trading cards, which
Yeah.
was you play this game and you get this item out of the trading cards that you
Yeah.
like. It went crazy too. I was looking at that. I was
It
like,
did,
that
yeah.
looks like a lot of effort. I don't know.
So,
It is, yeah, it's a mess.
So here's the question, right? Let's toss a number out there. Let's say it costs the same amount as a WoW subscription, $15 a month, to get PlayStation Now, and it gave you access to a bunch of PS1, PS2 games, maybe later down the line, a couple of PS3 games. Going around the room here, I want to know which of you would actually, one, subscribe, and two, how often you could actually see yourself fucking using this thing. Starting with Chiib. Would you actually use something like that?
Yeah, I probably would.
It's the best struggle where you heard it like.
I probably would, yeah.
What kind of games would you want to go back and play with that kind of service?
I would go back and play a lot of the PlayStation 2 games. Like, that was my console back in the day. There's so many good PlayStation 2 games out there. And I just want to relive those. You know what I mean? I played a lot of horror games back on the PlayStation 2, Rule of Rose, Haunting Ground. Like, there's just not games out there like that to me anymore. Like, they're difficult. And all the games that they bring out now, they're just so easy, and I'm not as scared. So it's just, I'd want to go back and play those
That's fair.
PlayStation 2 games.
Yeah, I think I'd want to go back and probably play some of the really good JRPGs and stuff like Rogue Galaxy. I never finished Rogue Galaxy. That game was absolutely fantastic. A couple of the Devil Summoner games, the Shin Megami Tensei games, there were a couple of good ones on that. I'd probably go and play Dragon Quest VIII again, because that's just fantastic. And a few other things like that, and maybe some of the brawlers. I mean, things I can play God Hand on the PS3 right now, but maybe I'd go back and play. Actually, you can play Akami on the PS3 as well now. I was gonna say I'd go back and play that, but yeah, you can do that too.
As an old fart, I'd play the PlayStation 1 era games, because that's when I still loved Squaresoft enough to buy everything they made.
Okay.
And they made a lot of really great games. Vagrant Story up in the house for show.
Vagrant.
That game's
Okay, I'll definitely
fantastic.
do that. Vagrant Story is just.
Vagrant Story
fantastic.
is just that's a great game.
I have
there's
that
a
on
lot
my
of
Vita
things-
as well. It's just like, yep, let's go.
See, and so you've already given into some of it, and
Yeah,
I think
that's fair.
I think that I wouldn't be too worried about streaming on those games, because I don't think they would require a lot of bandwidth to stream something like that. It's the newer ones I'd be worried about, but the newer ones I don't really give too much of a shit about. I think I agree with Chiba that like a lot of the newer games just like, meh, I played it, but I'm not really. Most of the games that are new, I already have on the computer, either on Steam or GOG. I own it already, so I don't need to have it Like, it's those old games that I miss and I love. Like Legend of Dragoon was a great game.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what was the Lunar Silver Star story? I remember playing that and loving that game. It was very, very like anime. Oh shit, my God, there's so many great games that I can't even think of off the top of my head that I'm just like, if I saw those again, I would immediately get them. And it's just because there are times when because usually after a new console comes out, I'll try to play all the old games that I bought and never really had time to play on the old console. And then I'll be like, well, I did that, and I'll sell all the old stuff. Like, I'll be like, well, that was fun, I'll get rid of it. And there are many times where I'm like, why did I do that? Mostly because I'm horrifically OCD and space-wise, I'd be like, it's just shit on the ground.
Taking up too much space. Yeah.
And so I sell it. Like, that's why, like, I'll go through closets every once in a while. I'll be like, I don't use this, and I don't use this, and I don't use this, and I'll just get rid of it. And it's the same thing. I just wish that, some choices I'd made where I'm like, I'll keep that game. I like that game. Because, like, you can never find it anymore, or you can never get to download, and the emulator versions suck, and you're just like, I just want to hold that game again. It's you don't know what you've got till it's gone. They were right. That song was right, guys. That song was right.
A lot of those older games are really difficult to find, and then when you do find them, they're like $30 to $60, and you're just like, well, I don't want to pay that much money just to play this again, probably once. So
$35 was expensive back in the day, and now all of a sudden you find them again for $60 because it's a re-release, and you're just like, I'm paying essentially triple because I'm paying for the game twice what it usually was, and I paid for that one too. So
even worse if it was a cartridge game originally, and it might have actually been $80 to $90 legitimately when it first came out, and then it's like $300. Like, god damn.
But then you can't not play it. You're just like, I need this so badly, and like you just have to have it back. For me, it'd be kind of the same thing. I think I usually only subscribe to something when I feel the initial need. So it wouldn't be like, day one, I'm going to sign up. It's going to be like, how do I play this? Okay, so like 4 months later, after this whole thing would happen, I might sit down and subscribe and then forget that I've subscribed because I'm not going to use it again for another 6 to 9 months, or I might remember and then have to like get rid of it. I do that same with my Xbox subscription. So it's like I have gold so I can play with friends and do everything that I need to do. But if that thing runs out, I don't really mind. And chances are it will run out because I'll only play it 2 to 3 times during the course of me actually having it. So if it was on like a yearly basis, then I could understand having that. But if it was on a monthly, I would be more inclined to unsubscribe and then bring it back up whenever I needed it. However, like that would be frustrating for me.
Here's what's gonna sell that system. Being PlayStation Plus, if they say we'll give you these X free streams or X things
through
that you
PlayStation
can get
Plus.
Through PlayStation Plus, I feel like that would do it because
I kind of almost hope that they don't, though, because honestly, it's really nice for PlayStation Plus to come along every month and say, here's a bunch of games that you can download, and you can just buy them all via PlayStation Plus, and then they're on your account forever. Yeah, but would they really do it in addition? They're more likely to replace the downloads with streams.
Their back catalog is so huge. I don't see why they couldn't give you 1 or 2 free streamed games a month and say, look, go play this epic game that you probably missed. Enjoy. And I feel like that would get people to actually get it, because like we're talking about right now, when we brought up the initial thing of streaming a game, everyone was like, oh my god. I feel like there's a lot of goodwill to win, because all people can remember is, what is cloud gaming? And
they just remember kind of bad service in general.
Yeah.
The problem is that if this ends up being the only way that they demonstrate their back catalog, I view that as like a net negative, because you only get worse from that point. It's better to have a version that's on your computer that's on your console that works, as opposed to one that's on someone else's console in a fucking warehouse somewhere that works depending on whether or not the server is operating well that day, whether or not there's internet problems, and that's my fear, is that they will eventually use this service for all their back catalog stuff and not bother porting it over. And at that point, I'm like, well, This sucks. Maybe I just didn't want to play a pixely laggy version of this. Maybe because every now and again there'll be a game that like Godhound or Okami that I'll want, and I'll want it on my modern system, and the only way to get it is apparently through this cloud service. That's my concern, and I can see it going that way.
The other thing is, like, what else would they offer for this service? For instance, like, when you get the premium Xbox and Xbox Gold and everything like that, you're getting a whole bunch of services that are available to you, not just
that you should be
whatever's
getting
on
for
there.
free because they're dicks.
Yeah, which is really shitty, which I've never liked. But imagine a service where you can get these games, stream these games, or imagine actually like being able to. I mean, I don't even know whether the consoles have this innately, but if it was easier to do like streaming or Twitch integration. That would be really cool because then we don't have to worry about that little box that you have to hook up to the thing and blow on and make sure that it does your voodoo magic.
I wonder if you could.
What are these
could
other
you
things that
stream a
works?
cloud game thing? Like you're streaming to and then you're streaming out. That would. I don't know if the console
Yeah,
can do
what
that.
if it's going two places at once?
I
right?
don't know if that's impossible. Maybe.
Well, if it's coming in and coming out, what if the output that it's bringing to you is actually also being streamed simultaneously through another service? So you could actually do it through there.
That was actually already done with OnLive, so I know that's possible. Because you could actually spectate. Yeah, you could actually spectate people's games, and it wouldn't be taking their bandwidth. It would just be you'd just be watching a clone from the server. So. Okay.
That would be cool for like old games, but even new ones. Like if they can use that same service, if you don't have to, if you can pay $5 to $15 a month, if you're hardcore into streaming, then it's so much easier than just to have like to record it, make a video like that. I haven't done that yet. There's a whole world of console gaming stuff that I want to do, that I want to record myself doing, that I just haven't done because it seems like a pain in the ass versus actually logging on there, paying $15 and doing it.
This does definitely seem like a very niche case, I've got to say. It's like
I want to play Skylanders.
That's why we built the service. Perfect. I don't think that was necessarily part of their intended demographic, but regardless, it could be cool. I mean, there's certainly some interesting ideas there.
But like, what are the other things that they can offer as well? Like, it seems like if that's not enough to sell it, what if you get like a better experience outside of games as well? There could be other things that they add to that to kind of sweeten the deal a little bit that actually makes people interested beyond just, hey, do you want to play this old game? No? Well, how about this other thing?
Well, they were talking about, they've talked about PlayStation Vita, actually like that use on the PlayStation Vita as well, and they've also talked about tablets as well, which is really odd for them to say that, because they initially said, oh, we're going to make it work on certain Bravia TVs and you're not going to need a console. It's like, that's kind of cool if you own a 2014 Bravia, but they then said, oh yeah, an iPad. I'm like, hang on a minute, you're going to allow Sony games on an Apple platform. And are you going to tie it to the machine? Like you've got to have a PS4 to make that work somehow? There's got to be some proof of ownership? Or are you literally going to allow someone with a fucking iPad to play PS3 games without owning a PS3? Because that does not sound like Sony at all.
That sounds awesome, though.
They've got to be restricting that in some way. There's no way they would do that.
You probably have to sign up via your PS3
That's what I'm saying. Like, you've got to own one.
Own it, if only just for that initial experience.
Yeah.
And then, like...
Oh, so you just you could start a service where you start renting out your PlayStation 3 for $20 a head. It's like plug in the PS3, sign up for it, get it on your iPad, and then send it back. Perfect.
Because you have to do that shit with Instagram. In order to sign up for Instagram, you have to use your phone.
I'm planning the scams. It's gonna be good.
Yeah.
No.
Brand new service industry going on right there. It's innovation.
In it.
In it, indeed.
Burn them to the ground. No.
Sorry, that's the thing that I say. It angers people sometimes.
What, in it? That's a very.
It's a very English term.
It's a very Southern English. In it, mate.
In it, yeah. And everyone's like, "What?" And I'm like, "No, it's fine. I just watch a lot of TV."
Yeah. So PlayStation Now, I guess that, which is not now, but PlayStation Later is going to be happening at some point in 2014. We don't really know when, but. I mean, I think it's probably a service I'll sign up to just to see how it works. But I have a feeling I'm going to end up just throwing money at Sony and not using it at all.
So basically, you're Nikeing the whole damn thing.
Pretty much, yeah. Well, I mean, I accidentally signed up to Hulu a couple of months ago, and I still can't figure out why, so...
I still can't do that. I can't justify just for NBC shows, really. That's what you're doing.
Well, the annoying thing about Hulu is that I watch stuff in the Netflix style of I start at the beginning and I go through a series. You know, currently I'm watching Arrow and I'm watching a bit of Leverage as well. But on Hulu, you can't do that. Like, it's like, here are the last 5 episodes. Like, oh, great. So this is actually a companion app for having a cable subscription, which I don't. So this is completely worthless.
You gotta watch it now. You have to watch it in the now, man.
Fuck that. My schedule's more important than yours. You know,
PlayStation
I'm not gonna watch
in
it now.
the now.
So you
Oh my
would
God.
not recommend Hulu for someone else, because I was actually thinking of signing up for it.
Amazon Prime works better if you're interested in that.
Amazon Prime works a bit differently. The thing about Hulu that annoyed me was I looked at it and there was some lineup of shows and they're like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and I'm like, oh, okay. I'll sign up. Maybe I can watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's like episode 8 onwards. Like, what? This is useless. It's like it only has the last 5 episodes.
Can't you watch it online anyway?
I have no idea.
You can just go onto
Maybe
their website and
it's entirely possible that I'm just completely idiotic.
I think
but-
someone decided to link me to that or something,
Oh,
and I was
okay.
like, okay, maybe I'll watch it someday. Again,
Well,
I don't watch things.
I hope
Netflix,
Hulu
why?
enjoys the several months of subscription that I gave them for no reason. But anyway, they're like that service doesn't really work that way. But Amazon Prime is pretty good. The problem with Amazon Prime is what it loves to do is give you the first season for free and then sell you the other ones. And it's fucking evil because by that point you're into it and you can't resist. It's like $30 is all you need to watch season 3 of Suits. I'm like, no! That is evil. I'd rather it just not be there because it taunts me. It's like, on Netflix, you usually have to wait a bit for the latest season to come up. I'm okay with that. I'll go watch something else. But on Amazon, it's like, we got it, but you gotta pay for it. Amazon, you're evil. But, I mean, to be fair, like, there's also other reasons to be signed up to Amazon Prime other than just their streaming service. So, to me, it's like, oh, this is a free bonus. And occasionally they have a movie that Netflix doesn't have, and, I'll watch it there. So, that works. And
I found the Street Fighter on there, and I was really happy about that because it wasn't on Netflix. The Street Fighter movie.
The Street Fighter movie. Okay.
Yeah, it's like one of my
Raul
favorite
Julia's
things ever.
finest
Me.
and final moment.
I was
Tuesday.
Yeah. Yes, I know. I
Love
was
that
just
line.
Favorite line of the entire movie. What for me?
that's the favorite line of like any movie ever. It was a brilliant movie, and I love it to death still.
Someone unironically used the
terrible.
term
It was
bison
beautiful,
dollars
terrible.
in a movie. And he was a famous actor. It was a crowning moment in cinema history.
It wasn't even like bison bucks. It was bison dollars.
Bison dollars,
like,
which are
it
worth
was
£5
just-
British pounds, by the way.
It's
Five
mind
British pounds.
it's
Nowadays I
mind-blowing
need
to me.
Bitcoin though, so we can't laugh at it.
Yeah,
It's mind-blowing to me
actually,
that man's last
Bitcoin is
word
bison
in a
dollars.
movie.
It's Raul Julia's plan from beyond the grave. He actually created bison dollars.
Raul Julia's
both
last
begin with a B.
line in a movie was that epic speech that was like, "Then the devil said," that big thing where he flies. It's amazing, and he rises up like that. Shit is. I want to go out like that. If I'm gonna die, I want my last thing I say to be that line. It's like lightning.
See, and everyone makes fun of it. They're just like, "Oh man, Raul Julia was his
And
last
rightfully
film,"
so.
and I'm just like, "No, he owned that.
He did.
that
I'll give him.
rocked it.
He was the sole redeeming factor of that fucking movie. So
Hey, no, everyone else knew what they were. That was the best part of Street Fighter. Is it like it's a shitty film,
I
and it
didn't
knew
know
it all
that.
the way through. So some
was
people took it
nothing
seriously.
There was E. Honda and Blanca fighting as Godzilla in like a little tiny town. No, it wasn't Blanca. It was
Zangief.
oh my god, who was it? Zangief, yeah. And they're fighting.
Yeah.
They're fighting as Godzilla. There's nothing redeeming about that. That is a
No.
shitty movie, but it is. It is really
It was so
good.
good.
It is a
And
good.
somehow it still ended up being better than the sequel, which like
I haven't seen the sequel.
never ever
don't
do.
know
Street
there's
Fighter: The
sequel.
Legend of Chun-Li is fucking abysmal.
Oh, that's no one
Yes,
cares about
that
that.
was the recent one.
Oh,
That's the girl from whatchamacallit, Smallville. Nothing good came
yeah.
out of Smallville.
No, apparently no, it did not.
No, I loved the fact that Street Fighter is terrible and aware of it, and therefore it just seemed like it was so much fun to work on. They just had fun, and I loved that. And the fact that Netflix didn't have it made me really, really sad.
Disgraceful.
So I tweeted that I was sad, and then someone else said that I have it on Prime, so I bought it for like $8, and I'm
What?
so happy.
You spent $8 for that?
Yes.
Oh.
Wouldn't you? No,
No, I
you
wouldn't.
Don't, you don't.
And this is coming from someone that owns Double Dragon on Laserdisc. So, no, I would not pay $8 for that.
We found Wrath of Khan on Laserdisc at a Goodwill, and we fought for it, and then I lost. But
Sad.
it was still a beautiful moment of like, look at all these, and then Wrath of Khan just came out, and me and my friend grappled for it, and despite nails, I have claws, still lost, but that's okay.
I'd like to point out that the Street Fighter movie, or not Street Fighter, but the Double Dragon movie has some of the funniest unintentional humor of any movie. Back on when VHS was a thing, kids, we would rewind that movie 20 times to one scene. There's a scene where this dude's like pumping. I don't even know what he's pumping. Like pumping pipes. And
It's just like
so,
publicly masturbating in the middle of nowhere.
so funny.
Double Dragon took a turn for the weird.
It is such a ridiculous movie. That's back when video game movies were made by people who had no idea what video games were, and it was great.
I'm sorry,
Great
back
times.
when? Come on, there hasn't been much improvement since, let's be frank.
That's because they only let UA Bowl direct them now.
Oh, fucking hell.
I just want to point out Dungeon Siege is on Netflix. If you guys
no.
ever watch Dungeon Siege?
No!
Holy shit.
It has nothing to do with the game.
Yes, it's it's the game Dungeon Siege, except without having anything to do with the game. And the main character in the game, who is a farmer, in the movie is just called Farmer. There's other than that, there's nothing. It is major actors. Like
It's got fucking Jason Statham as in the lead role. How did that even happen?
It is major, legitimate actors who I think just needed a paycheck or owed him a favor.
Jason Statham's got to eat.
It doesn't make it. The movie is basically like they're like, Lord of the Rings just came out. Let's make something similar. It is the shittiest film, yet you need to watch it because it is so fucking funny. It is great.
We tried to watch it, and drinking wouldn't even get us through it.
It
We
just
were
makes
upset.
me upset. Like, it's the same reason Far Cry makes me upset. Like, Uwe Boll has ruined a lot of things in his life.
There was a Far Cry movie?
Yes,
Yes.
and it's fucking awful. Let's
just
look
like
at Uwe Boll's list before we go on to the SimCity topic, which we are going to do before the end of this damn show, and I will drag you to it if it kills me. The Uwe Boll's list of movies which
did he
ruined
do
video
Blood Rain?
games include. So he did. Oh God, there's apparently an In the Name of the King 2.
Yes,
Which-
with Dolph Lundgren.
What the fuck?
Dolph Lundgren's in that.
One, Dolph Lundgren's in it. Two, it's In the Name of the King 2, Two Worlds. Please don't tell me that's actually based on the game Two
Please
Worlds.
tell me it's Two Worlds crossover.
Oh, I'm gonna tell you the plot. Dolph Lundgren is a Marine who gets sent back in time or into an alternate reality to go fight monsters and shit.
What the fuck?
That's
You're actually not lying to me. This is actually what it is.
I'm not.
Granger, a former Special Forces soldier living in modern-day Vancouver, is sent on a quest to fulfill an ancient prophecy. He is forcibly pulled into a time portal in his home after fighting off a small group of hunted assassins who try to kill him. He finds himself several hundred years in the past in the war-torn forest kingdom of Ebb. Granger teams up with a...
Sorry, Ev.
What the fuck? Granger teams up with an unlikely band of allies, accompanied by a female doctor named Manhattan. A female doctor named Manhattan.
Named Manhattan.
I don't think you understand. That movie is like the first movie is bad. The
fuck is this?
Good. The second one is just here. I'm not joking. I'm not joking when I say this.
Wow.
This is legitimate truth. Dolph Lundgren turned down
Shit.
turned down this movie 3 times, and on the 4th time was after he got a divorce and needed the money to pay alimony to his wife.
He
so he
accepted
agreed
it.
to do it. That's how UABL gets his
Principal photography began on December the 1st, 2010. 6 people were injured in an explosion on the set of the last day of shooting. If that's not a motherfucking omen, I don't know what is. God
Oh, Dolph
damn. I can't believe that's... Whoa, we just lost Nika. Okay, hopefully we'll get her back in a minute. Anyway...
She couldn't handle Dolph Lundgren. Oh,
I don't blame her in any way. I'm just going to try and recall her anyway. As we were saying, it's just... What were we saying? The plot seems like it was written by a 5-year-old. Like, there is a Special Forces soldier that gets pulled into a time portal after a battle with hooded assassins. Like, you what?
I don't know that this is true, but what I heard is because where he films the movie, because people keep saying, like, how does this man keep making movies? It doesn't make sense. There are all these and he keeps destroying video games. Apparently, wherever he films, they pay. There's like a thing where he gets paid to do it.
It's something. Basically, it's Germany's fault, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, they the way the movie industry is, like, because he films there and does stuff like under a certain cost or whatever, he makes money by just making the films. So even if the films suck, he still makes a fortune, which is insane.
Nika tried to desperately escape from this discussion. I don't really blame her.
It took longer. And then I punched my router, and it cried. No. But no,
Tears.
I
Oh my
really,
God.
like,
So-
this conversation, and then it didn't happen anymore. No.
So here's a list of stuff that Uwe Boll has ruined, by the way. So he's done 2 Dungeon Siege movies. He did Blood Rain, The Third Reich. He's actually done 3 Blood Rain movies. Blood Rain 2,
all
and Blood
horrible.
Rain, The Third Reich. They're actually considered some of his better movies, funnily enough.
I disagree.
He did 2 Alone in the Dark movies, which are all terrible. He did Far
Is that
Cry.
the one with Tara, what's her face, was a scientist?
Possibly. He
The
also
girl-
He also ruined House of the Dead in 2003, which is hilarious. It's like, how do you make something worse acted than House of the Dead? Apparently, you get Uwe Boll on the case, and he will sort that shit.
did.
Yeah.
Yep. Like G did.
Like G did. And then he did Postal, which apparently was one of the worst films ever made. So he's ruined all of that. But also, they let him make a film called Auschwitz. Like,
Holy shit.
Auschwitz is a 2011 German drama film directed by Uwe Boll. They let Uwe Boll near that subject matter.
I bet the plot, I swear to God, I bet the plot's like, in 2011, Dolph Lundgren is dragged back in time to Auschwitz. As Marine must free everyone else.
Right, we're gonna stop this right now. I am not going down the Auschwitz hole. Thank you very much.
I actually thought like there was a reason, there was a loophole in him getting paid is because like, there's some
Jesse just mentioned it actually. Yeah,
he makes a shitload of money by it's like the producers, but real and sadder.
Or Germany, yeah, it's a German thing.
Yeah, it's apparently a German thing. But anyway, let's get the fuck off him immediately, because this is just depressing me. And speaking of something depressing, SimCity. So SimCity has had, let's just say that, a fairly negative reception over the past, 6+ months. However, apparently SimCity will be getting an offline mode, according to the SimCity website. This, by the way, is something that they claimed was impossible because calculations were done server-side, so there's no way that could ever happen. But
can we take a moment and appreciate the fact that they said we now have the technology to do this?
Did they actually say that? They really said that?
The biggest load of shit. Like, we have the technology to do this now.
Sorry, where did they say that? That's because that's not on the blog post at all.
Oh my God. It's the news article that I read earlier. Guys, like, we have the technology. Hold on, I'll find it for you.
Yeah, can you find that and make sure that's actually not a misquote? Because it's not on the official blog at all.
Of course.
Because even that seems a little bit brazen for them. It's like
or like just completely woohoo!
It's like, wow, you are so fucking dishonest and lying to our faces. But I don't think they said that. You might want to double check, Jesse. Anyway,
I'm looking.
So in the meantime, yes, offline is coming. There's a free download for Update 10 to all SimCity players. When we launch it, all your previous downloaded content will be available to you anytime, anywhere, without the need for an internet connection. We're in the late phases of wrapping up its development. So in other words, they've been working on this for a little while. As one of the final steps, we're putting offline into the hands of some of our most hardcore players, the dev testers. So apparently there are people that still play SimCity, which was news to me. And they will be getting control of this initially and doing the beta testing. Your save games will be stored locally. You can save and load to your heart's content. What does this mean for the online game? All the benefits of being connected will remain, including access to multiplayer, the global market leaderboards, etc., etc. Bringing the game offline means big things for our wonderful community of modders. Talking about there. And that's pretty much about it, I think. So the claims initially that the game would definitely not work without an internet connection, there's a whole sort of cloud stuff, were apparently complete bollocks. So this thing is coming. But there's also a bit of controversy surrounding the modding policy, because they talked about, we're going to allow modding, but apparently this modding doesn't allow you to do anything with the simulation. So you can't actually affect the way the simulation works, supposedly.
So you can just make things look different.
Okay. So here's the actual information that they put out. It wasn't they couldn't do it. It's that they wouldn't do it because it didn't fit with the vision of what they wanted the game to be. So they kept saying
my artistic vision.
The reason why it wasn't they didn't have technology. It's that they just wouldn't use it because it didn't fit with the vision of what they thought the game should be. So they just decided, screw it, we're gonna give you a crock of shit, basically. That's on BBC's SimCity thing they just put up.
About an hour ago, they actually put out a blog claiming how they re-engineered it. They thought about SimCity was written to rely on servers. The game routinely pings the servers for critical pieces of data, but to be fair, all of this data apparently is to do with the regions. It's not to do with the actual cities themselves. So it's like region status, workers, and trading, etc. So apparently they rewrote the entire system, which previously existed in Java, and put it into C++.
Oh,
Java, wow. Okay.
That sounds miserable.
It still doesn't ruin it doesn't the fact that it doesn't matter that they're making a single player, to be honest.
No,
because the game itself is not very good. It's one of those games where you play it and the first hour is great and you're like, this is fantastic, but there is any end game is you trying to just put holes in the city you built and plug holes as your city falls apart, which people were like, it's realistic because no city can grow too big. So you've got to. It's like, I don't want fucking realistic. I want.
Call it a fucking London.
Yeah, I want to just keep building and make cool things, and I want all of it. And when they're like, you're running out of fuel, you know what? Let me see all that land that I'm not building in. How about I buy that shit up? Because that's what would happen in real life, you dummies. It's aggravating as balls. It's so.
There's a lot about the game that I find redeeming, but I also do find that ceiling on most games to do with the sim titles, where it's just like, yeah, man, I might play it for a night, and then afterwards you're just like, I just don't know why I'm coming back to this. But the weirdest thing about it is that was only like the always online thing was only the first misstep. The second one was, hey, don't you need this electric carport? Great. So your city now has a huge Nissan Leaf branding.
Oh, the sponsored content? Oh,
the
God.
Sponsored content, which was actually pretty much necessary for the game. Like, I can totally get it. If you want one cheaper, like, if here's this thing that you can put into your game, or you can get one that might be like 10% faster, but has branding on it, I get it. I get it for premium content. I get branding in that sense. But I don't accept it when it has to be there, and when like it's just so like flagrant on top of a game that already has like a lot of really bad stuff going for it.
It already
So
milked the hell out of you to
like,
begin with, you know? It's just insult to injury.
It just became like painful that all I heard was bad press and I heard nothing good. And I know that it's probably really good, and the people who are really, really into the game are still good. Like, they're going to love this, they're going to play it. And it's good that they actually went back and did all that. But like, just the marketing of the game up until that point has made me just really a little bit itchy about it. Because it might not be a good game. Like, it's probably great. But like so many missteps along the way has really put me off to even wanting to be a part of it. So
I suffer from the inability to let that one go. For some reason, every once in a while I get really bored. Like if a video is rendering and I'm just really bored, I'm just like, I guess maybe I'll like go make a city and have fun for about an hour. I got an hour to waste, whatever.
I guess I'll have fun.
I'll play it until the point where I'm like, well, this became a waste of my time, right? But to assume that there's still people who like love that game, it is a wasteland of abandoned cities. There are hundreds of regions with just
Detroits.
abandoned, just Detroits, lots of Detroits, and it's really sad because then it hinders your experience. Then you have to make one by yourself. So really, you're playing by yourself anyway, except you're playing it through the internet. Like that's what it's come down to. Playing with other people is a burden because if their cities are abandoned, you get their crime and you get their problems, and it's like, this is stupid. This is just stupid.
This is SimCity, full of Detroits.
Kind of is.
I've actually never played SimCity before.
But the new one, or have you just never played SimCity
Just in general? I've played Sims, but I'm imagining you build a city up instead of...
Pretty much.
Yeah,
play SimCity 4. Like, SimCity 4 still stands to this day as actually being really, really good, especially considering there's a lot of modding for it. The problem with the new SimCity was that, one, we hadn't had one in ages, so we were just gagging for one. I mean, we really wanted a SimCity game, and it ended up being exactly the opposite of what you want out of a SimCity game. Like, instead of being able to build this huge metropolis, you're restricted to this kind of 2x2 mile block. And once you've filled that up, there's nothing you can do. And you've got to move on to the next part of the region and build up yet another city, and they kind of have some interconnectivity, but most of it was bullshit. They promised through the Glassbox engine that they would be simulating all sorts of amazing stuff, and that the city would be a real living, breathing thing. And it ended up being bullshit. Like, your Sims don't even have their own houses. They just go to the nearest one. They don't have their own jobs. They just go to the nearest one. The traffic model is utterly broken, where the traffic cannot understand that the shortest way there is not necessarily the fastest, so it just jams your city up and makes it nigh on impossible to fix. They even added in DLC later to try and get around the traffic problem, like shit like airships and all sorts of stuff like that, and it's like, come on, guys. Like, this is just acknowledging how broken this is. Some guy made a city with no power, no water, no roads, no nothing, got 100% happiness and 100% healthy Sims because the whole simulation was just busted.
It's really strange to see like there's a weird time, like you can have everyone be happy and have nothing. He's right. And what's even more infuriating is you see things like, okay, this road is congested. Everyone's trying to get in and out of town. This road's nuts. So I'm going to tear down all this place and build more roads. And the problem is they just don't use those roads. So I'm like, okay,
yeah, they ignore them.
maybe if I build businesses there, people will be attracted to the businesses that will lead them there, and then will lead them back up to. That doesn't help either. If anything, it causes now 3 traffic jams to get out of your city. And you're just like, this is the stupidest effing thing. And everyone's like, well, I've looked up strategies on how to like take it slow and do this and build this the way you build this, and it tells you how to build everything perfectly, and still the game shits on you because it doesn't care. It doesn't care, and I'm just like, I'm done. But it's one of those things like I still have that in Diablo, all these games where I'm just like, I'm done with you, I hate you so much, and when I'm bored, I'm just like, here I am.
Oh, all right.
Once again.
And you'd think that, the modding policy will fix all of this. No, apparently not. Although it is possible that you might be able to get around it. So there's actually 5 rules for modding this game. Mods must not jeopardize the integrity of the gameplay or harm the experience of others. Mods that affect the simulation for multiplayer games and multiplayer features such as leaderboards or trading with other players are not allowed. The problem is that could actually spill over to the single-player stuff, because a lot of that stuff is very interconnected. So if you change anything that involves, like, trading or even the traffic model, because that also affects the commuting to other cities and things like that, if you change that, in theory, you're violating the mod policy. There's also, obviously, like, copyright stuff, which is fine. Mods may not modify any .com, .exe, .dll, or other executable files. So there's that.
So how do you...
And they also reserve the right at sole discretion just to revoke permission to use any mods at any time. So
that's a catch-all.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's fine.
Yeah.
What mods exist then? Because I imagine they're all superficial and not really.
It would mostly be
useful
skins,
mods.
I would think, at that point. It would mostly just be cosmetic stuff, because there's too much of a risk of violating the first principle there because of how interconnected everything supposedly is. So that's my concern with it.
The only mods that would be tolerated, and here's what I want. Look, internet nerds, if you haven't done this already, you should. Where's my Game of Thrones mod for SimCity? Where you can build all the different Game of Thrones cities. I want that. And they all have to be interconnected. And instead of crime, you have Dothraki running around.
Yeah.
I want it. Make it happen. You don't get to laugh, Nika. You don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
No idea.
I want this.
Fuck Game of Thrones.
It's really kind of irritating, because they actually released this mod policy before announcing that it was going offline, so people went and freaked out, because it's like, oh, well, that means you can't mod anything then, because everything's connected online. I have to wonder whether or not this whole offline thing then allows these mods to actually do something useful. But I'm really doubting it, because it seems like if things are connected the way they're supposed to be, if you change some of that stuff, it will affect the multiplayer game, at which point it's like, well, you can't play it anymore, or you can't distribute that mod, in which case, well, what the hell's the point? I don't know. Like, all I want is, I want a larger city that actually works. I don't want to build 8 cities, I want to build 1. I want to build 1 city, I don't really give a shit about all the others in the region. I want to be able to build it up the way that I want to do it, I want the space to do that, and I want the simulation to work correctly. That's all I want. So, I don't know if they can even do that.
Yeah. What is up with the 5th games screwing everything up? Like, Civ 4 was a masterpiece. Civ 5, kind of weird, a little bit different. I guess it was okay, but it's no Civ 4. And same with this in a lot of ways, where it's like, yeah, we're going to give you better stuff. And you're like, yeah. And you're like, this is totally different and completely, like, got in the way of the experience that I had and wanted. What you really want is the
Civ 4 with
upgrade.
expansions eventually, but they haven't done that with SimCity. That's kind of what I was hoping, that eventually the big expansion for SimCity comes along and fixes everything. And it just looks like they're not even going to bother. It almost seems like, we're going to make this offline. I wonder why they're going to do that. Would it be because they don't want to pay for the servers anymore? That's a possibility. So they just make it nice and much, much cheaper for themselves, and then just abandon the damn thing. That seems like the way that they're going with it.
Ran out of branded content.
Pretty much. It's like, we can't sell any more fucking Tesla-branded cars for the game, so I guess we'll just leave it.
Yeah.
I want a Tesla. I wish I had $1 billion.
I'm sure you could have at the time. You could totally have gotten one at the very beginning, when everyone was clamoring to get it and couldn't get in, so they had like a hard cap on where the branding could go. And now that there's really nobody else playing it, then the branding went nowhere, so they probably don't have as much.
Yeah.
I meant in real
Marketing.
life.
I don't know. It's
Fuck the game. I meant in real life. I want
Get rich.
real life. Yeah, I was gonna say it. I wish I had $1 billion.
I don't know.
for me,
Be a
by this
master
point, I'm
person.
just like, you know what? I don't want to touch SimCity ever again. I don't. There are so many other games I could be playing that aren't SimCity. I could just go back and play Anno. It's like, the Anno was released at the time when the Ubisoft DRM was at its most terrible, and it was still nowhere near as bad as SimCity. So, you know, well done there. And most of that's been sorted out now. So just go play Anno 2070, or indeed any of the early Anno games, or any other city building. Play fucking Cities XL, anything. At least it works. It's a waste of time.
Thank you, chat, for reminding me. Once again, I'd like to point out the best sim game ever made is the mod for Civ 4, Fall from Heaven 2.
Fall from Heaven 2. Oh,
Single-handedly the best. It takes Civ 4 and makes it a fantasy game.
So
and
good.
they're all the races and all each race has its own weapons and units and stuff, and each race has 2 or 3 heroes that lead them, and then their hero units. Holy shit! Fall from Heaven 2, guys.
Fall from Heaven 2.
Single best Civ 4 mod ever made ever. It is phenomenal.
That sounds awesome. Okay,
It's
so
really
that was
cool.
that, and then
There's a storyline. There's quests you can do.
Oh yeah, play
Renovation quest. What was it called?
Revengeance.
Revengeance. Oh yeah, that's
So awful.
Fall from Heaven 2, man. God, I haven't played that. I'm gonna have to reinstall Civ 4 again to play that. That's
Oh my god!
That's one of my
Why
favorites.
did you uninstall it? Did you have? Okay, you can uninstall it.
Computer. It was,
Okay, new computer. Okay, I was gonna say if you reformatted or got a new computer, totally okay with it.
It's
But
on,
why would
it's,
you
on,
ever?
it was on my old one. It was on my old one constantly. But new computer was like, I'm not even gonna bother. I'm gonna play SimCity instead. That'll be better.
I got a rather amusing PM during the stream, by the way, which says, new stream site, not spam, please read. Hello there, Total Biscuit. I just want to inform you of a new streaming and video site that is completely ad-free. And then they link it, and they typoed the name. So they didn't even get it right. There's like a couple of extra letters in there. We think your fans and viewers would really appreciate the ad-free environment more, and would love for you to come aboard. That's how I pay my rent! No, I can't have ad-free! What's wrong with you? Hi, we'd really like to suggest that you destroy your entire business model. Please come over to our site, which we couldn't fucking spell correctly, in order to make that happen. No.
What do they offer in like?
What's in
is the
exchange for
alternative? How do
not
you get
making
paid?
any money whatsoever? Could you tell
How you
me?
get paid?
It's like that sounds like a dreadful
Lots
plan.
of drugs.
Oh god. Yes. Anyway, I just found that amusing. Yes. So we
him
have
on
no hope for
blast.
SimCity, and it's probably going to burn and die horribly. So that's that.
I'm sad about it, but I also understand that the mistakes
Indeed.
that they made.
Yeah,
Question
that's
mark.
just the way of it. Let's quickly run through the releases and then wrap up the show, shall we? We've managed to extend the
Hey.
usual content far beyond the usual. So, coming out today, the Banner Saga for PC. Please, come on, one of you's got to know what the Banner Saga is.
Not a clue.
God damn it! The Banner Saga is by
I don't know what
Stoic
Banner Saga
Games. A bunch of ex-BioWare guys. One of the first kind of really successful Kickstarters. Comes out today. Really, really nice animation style. It is a Viking RPG where you lead a band of Vikings and giants. And it's kind of great. So you should probably pay attention to the Banner Saga. It's out right now. I can't believe none of you heard about the Banner Saga. Wow.
No, I'm pretty sure that I've seen it in some way, shape, and form. Did
Probably.
I play this?
I don't know. Do you play? It was available at PAX at
never-
one point. I played it there. But
It looks
also, there
cool.
was the Banner Saga Factions, which was that kind of free-to-play multiplayer component that they put out earlier.
Wait, no. They submitted it to IGF.
Ah, there you go.
They played it. Okay, so I have played it. I
All
forgot
right.
the name. So I was like, it sounds really familiar, but I didn't understand. You were like Viking RPG, and I'm like, bitches, I played that.
I was going to
Yes,
say
it was
that there are a
actually really
limited selection of Viking RPGs currently available.
good.
So.
I was like, huh. It was.
Actually, we're talking about Heimdall on the Amiga 1200, but there you go.
Also another thing where I'd be like, are you sure? No, Banner Saga was actually, it was surprisingly impactful right at the very beginning. The story started off really strong, and the voice acting was really, really good. So immediately you're feeling like you're a part of it, and it's interesting because generally, like, the graphics were okay. It wasn't anything that I was super in love with until I really started, but it's really rare for something to be engaging right off the bat, which I feel like it was. I want to be playing more of it. I don't know why I don't even have it. I should have the press build. But it was really cool. And the combat was a little weird, kind of chessboard-ish, which I thought was interesting. But I still loved it pretty much. Like, it just, from the story, from all the way through, it felt great. And I didn't really play that much, but the point is I want to play more, and that you should get it, maybe person who's watching.
Jesse.
Yes. Sorry.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Sorry.
I was looking
Sorry.
at the camera. I wasn't looking at you. You're right below the camera.
I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to chat. Don't worry. We have an understanding, chat and I. All right. Next on our list.
Assassin's Creed Liberation HD for PlayStation 3 and PC. That's actually coming out tomorrow, I believe, not today, even though the list says it's coming out today. So that's
that'll
the
be
thing.
a thing.
Well, it's an HD version of Assassin's Creed Liberation, which was on the PlayStation Vita, and therefore sold a grand total of 9 copies. So,
Yeah.
but
I don't.
this is a weird one because this is basically a step backwards from Assassin's Creed 4, which is why I don't really see why they're releasing it now.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Assassin's Creed 3 had pretty poor reception for a good reason. Liberation was a spin-off of 3, and then we have 4, which people liked again because it had pirates and shit. And now it's like, play the handheld version of 3, which you didn't like. I don't really want to do that, actually, but I
If it's
get...
how you make money.
Yeah.
I can totally see it, like, yeah.
I also have review code for it, which they said, it will unlock when it launches. Like, thanks, guys. Much appreciated. Yeah, I'll get... In that case... with anyone who does that, by the way, it just goes on my pile of, I'll get to you when I feel like it. Which means I might not.
Yeah.
And I'll prioritize the games that do actually give me prior to release. What else? Raven Legacy of the Master Thief coming to PlayStation 3. That was previously on PC. That's actually a fairly good murder mystery game with some amusing French voice acting. Then we've got Doodle Devil, Double Dragon, and Age of the Zombies for PlayStation Vita for some reason. Don't know what the hell's going on with that. January 16th, F1 Race Stars Powered Up Edition for Wii U. Holy fuck. Why would they release that game? F1 Race Stars is a really bad Mario Kart clone involving real race car drivers from the Formula 1 circuit.
But in Mario Karts?
Yes.
Oh, fuck me. That's stupid as shit.
But really boring. Like, it's like if you took Mario Kart and sucked all the fun out of it and then sent that fun to the moon as far away from this game as possible, that would be F1 Race Stars. It is not a good game, but they are re-releasing it on Wii U, which is no doubt going to be absolutely phenomenal. Thank God.
Power-ups?
That's stupid.
Well, there were already power-ups. Someone assumes there are now more.
Yeah, but, like, what were the power-ups then? If you don't have a blue shell, like, if
They
you,
were
that's
pretty lame. I think some of them were balloons. Hang on.
Half blue ribbon is the blue shell.
F1 Race Stars power-ups.
showing.
All right.
Half blue ribbon is the blue. Yeah, he's like, Paps! Oh, shit! And he crashes.
I'm finding the list of power-ups for you because they're pretty dreadful, if I recall correctly. They were really uninspired.
Mountain Dew makes you go faster. Come on.
No, that's SimCity sponsorship. Don't mistake that. Oh yes, so here we go.
Like NOS energy drink and car stuff.
Obviously.
Like there's a huge crossover.
I actually found a NOS energy drink car racing. It was a arcade machine that was actually like, yeah. So there you go. Here are the power-ups. Balloons. You drop these balloons on the track, and rivals who drive through will find their screen covered in fun confetti. Boost. Obviously. Bottle rocket. Turn your car into a flying bottle of fizzy pop. Wow, this is the most British fucking game ever. Brilliant. And fly up the track. DRS, drag reduction system. What? Like, they go balloons, bottle rocket, DRS, drag reduction system. Like, does anyone see some thematic inconsistency here? This is a little strange. Pulse bubble. Pulse bubble. Rain cloud, which cause a slowing shower of rain. Ricochet bubble, safety car. You know, safety car is the only one that makes sense here. Like having a safety car come out on the track and slow everyone down. That makes sense. Trap bubble. There's like 5 different kinds of bubbles for no reason. Like, what the fuck has bubbles got to do with F1? And then you got, also, there's another one, wet weather, which is like, hang on, there's rain cloud and then there's wet weather, which one assumes do very similar things. Yes, so those were the power-ups. I can't wait to see what power-ups they have added into F1 Race Stars Powered Up Edition for Wii U. Thank God the Wii U finally has a lineup worth purchasing. Also on the Wii U, something that's actually worthwhile, which is Unepic. That's good. That's a good game. That's on PC. And that's good.
I wanted to play that. I've only heard great things.
It's a Metroidvania game with really nice graphics and a very, very small character.
Yep. You play as a guy who's playing D&D, and all of a sudden you go to the bathroom. When you come back, you're
and then you're suddenly actually in that world. But it's...
And you don't believe it. You're like, what the shit
It doesn't even have a fourth wall. They didn't even bother to code the fourth wall in because it would have been a waste of resources. It's pretty brutal. Okay, January 20th, Kickbeat Steam Edition, which is actually...
shit!
This looks fun. This is actually by Zen Studios. I do have code for this, and I'm definitely going to play it. It is a mixture of a fighting game with a rhythm game. And you do kung fu, but also rhythm. And for some reason, everyone has neon hats. It looks incredible.
Yup.
I'm imagining this like Power Rapper with Devo hats.
It sounds like it might be. Oh, wow. It actually has tracks from Electronic Superjoy in it. They got 6 tracks from Electronic Superjoy.
V
for
shooting
this.
through the
Very
world.
cool. Very cool. The Steam edition apparently has a lot more stuff in it. It comes from Zen Studios, who made Pinball FX 2 and Castle Storm, which is a little bit of a weird combo. But it is an innovative rhythm game with a kung fu theme, featuring fully 3D characters and high-energy music. You can even use your own music to create custom kickbeat tracks.
Sweet.
Whoa, that fucking soundtrack. They actually have real artists in this. They've got Pendulum in this, for God's sake. Like, Pendulum is in this game. The rest of it's actually terrible because it's mostly Marilyn Manson and Pod. Oh, welcome back to the 90s when Pod was cool. Okay.
Satellite.
POD, yeah.
Oh my
Papa
God,
Roach.
that's awful.
Papa Roach Last Resort is in this game. Oh, dear.
Oh, never mind.
Rob Zombie's in it. Cell Dweller's in it. Marilyn Manson's in
Cell
it.
Dweller and Rob Zombie.
They're okay, yeah.
The songs in this are relevant to my childhood. It's relevant to my high school, dog.
It's hilarious. It's like 90s teenage new metal and Electronic Superjoy. Perfect
Would that
combination.
be the 0 zeros, the knots as they may be? Like
What?
I
don't think so.
I think it's closer to
Some of that is 0, but mostly 99 is what that sounds like. Sounds like the summer of 99, man.
I'm gonna have to be careful playing this because I could get content flagged. I'll just do all the Electronic Superjoy tracks instead. There we go, problem solved. That still looks really interesting though. I want to check that out. Okay, let's see what else. Lucifer Ring is coming to PlayStation 3. I thought it was coming out on Vita as well. And also Ollie Ollie.
Ollie Ollie.
What the fuck is this?
What is that?
I looked it up. It's a skating game, it said.
Oh, I guess that makes sense.
Ollie Ollie.
Ollie Ollie. There we go.
I was thinking it was
2D
like
skating game.
January 28th, my favorite title ever.
What is that?
Dragon Ball Z, Battle of Z.
What? They couldn't have come up with a better name than that.
That is a fantastic
Battle of
title
Z.
game.
Come on.
Battle of Z.
Literally anything else would have been a better title than that. That's just silly.
Revengeance.
Revengeance is a better title. Dragon Ball Z Revengeance. The Reckoning.
Revengeance of Z would be
Bleeding out
great.
words.
Revengeance of Z. That would have been
Revengeance
great.
makes me unhappy. Revengeance of Z would be better because it just take it.
Just like, holy shit, Z is pissed. He needs
he's
God,
revengeancing.
All that revengeance is happening right now. If you happen to be in the EU, by the way, and you don't have Dr. Luigi yet, it is actually coming out tomorrow, January the 15th. So you'll be able to get Dr. Luigi. And also, I suppose the final piece of controversy for the show would be Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, which is on PS4 and Xbox One, which is quite funny because since I own the PC version, I thought I already owned the Definitive Edition, but apparently not.
I want to point out for the fans of fake controversy.
Yes, this is very much fake controversy.
There was a really good one coming that came out this week where apparently the definitive version, Lara Croft looks different. She's been her sex appeal was upgraded apparently.
They claim.
And people were like, "What? This is look at the way she looks now compared to the way she looks then. She looks sexier." And then it turns out what they did is they went back and they redid the mocap on her face, so it made it look more like the actual actress and not like the computer generated. So it looks like a real person. People are like, "It's too fucking sexy." It's too sexy.
What a great compliment that would be if you happen to be the mocap artist, actress on that one. It's like, wow, the entire internet says you're too fucking sexy for this role. Like, holy shit, that's pretty cool.
Hey.
It was so funny watching all like the incredible white knighting going on. Like people were like, this is just a disgrace to women everywhere. It's like, no, that's what she really looks like. What they did before was the fake thing, you dummies. Oh, it felt so good.
Looks like such a video game. Like you
Yeah.
can totally tell looking at a video game, and then you look at the other one, and you're just like, oh, she looks really she looks surprisingly
like a
human.
person, like a human.
It's really awesome.
I actually kind of have to agree, which is why I find the whole like, oh, they're sexing her up to be kind of weird. It's like, I don't know about that. Like, you know, if you look at the video game version of her, it's like that is like almost kind of facial perfection. Yeah, there's some dirt on the face, but that's going to happen anyway. They were even complaining, saying, oh, well, they've taken away the dirt and the cuts, and it's like, I bet they haven't. I bet what they were claiming is they've made it a bit more procedural, so that stuff will kind of more dynamically go onto her. Apparently, like she could even sweat and stuff like that, and you'll actually see that.
It looks better. Like it just looks, and the fact that people were pissed about that makes me just. I
don't
The
know.
other thing is that she actually has color now. Like when you look
Yeah.
at the 1 and the 2, it's like I totally understand like the shut-in goth chick being Tomb Raider. Okay, maybe I don't. And then the other one is just like, well, the saturation went up crazy on that one. All they really did was just like whoosh. So she's super, super tan, which makes sense. But you can also like you probably wouldn't be able to see as much dirt on that because she's not pale white. Like
Yeah, it is a little bit weird that someone who'd been exposed to the
tan.
elements for weeks at a time would be pale as. It's like, no, they wouldn't. They would be sunburnt heavily.
Yes, they'd be crispy. Like
Yes.
that's some red people. Like just full on
Yeah.
like scaly, a little bit like she needs some moisturizing,
Yeah.
like that bit.
It is a bit of a giant piece of fake controversy, isn't it? Oh,
I don't.
God.
I saw that woman yesterday, so I just had a quick flashback. I saw a scale woman. There's a woman near me who she always walks around like with just a bikini on, but she has like scales.
Yeah,
it's
'cause you
because
have
she
to
stays out in the sun.
moisturize.
Yeah.
The lizard people, they're here.
The lizard. Though that's L.A. There's a distinct class of underground dwelling lizard people who only come up to tan and then vanish. Oh yeah.
The
Oh, yeah.
tanning one, not the other lizard people. I just
Oh
stay
no,
in.
you're part of the mole people. Welcome.
We're talking about the
Welcome,
Illuminati
mole
here.
person.
No, I'm it's true.
Obama is
We
a
have heat rocks down
time-traveling
here.
lizard, so just pointing that out there. Time-traveling Muslim lizard,
Oh yeah, obviously. Born overseas.
born in Muslimia.
Kenyan Muslim time traveling lizard. President Obama.
Indeed. And then 50 Cent goes back in time to stop him. And that's the
Oh,
game.
shit.
There we go.
You ate both.
That sounds like a good time to wrap the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about what's coming up on our channels this week. Chiib, what you got coming on your channel? What's happening?
Well, I'm actually doing a playthrough of Tiny Brains right now. So, and then I am going to start a WoW leveling series as well.
Okay.
So, yep, that's what I got going on.
Fantastic. Nika, what you got coming in the next couple of weeks?
Let's see. I have my Geek and Sundry vlog is actually moving over to being a video game inspired thing. So I'm going to be doing a lot more gameplay and kind of fun entertainment stuff with that. So that should be really fun. I'm still kind of
Oh, dear.
gearing up for it. It's going to be called Story Mode, and the idea is that I'm going to take games that don't kind of have a story. Like one of my favorite things is Spelunky, but you don't really know why you're down there. Otherwise, like treasure. But like, why are there shopkeepers? Why are there damsels? So I'm going to start kind of going into there and kind of doing a sort of improv run through of what the game is. So and kind of playing on that. So it should be just really fun, entertaining, and
So
silly
it's
stuff.
fanfic, the video
That's
game
gonna be on-
series, then.
Kind of, yeah. It's a little bit like that. So it's just explaining the weird shit that will constantly happen to you in a lot of these games, plus a lot of kind of story-based stuff that I'm going to insert. So for instance, every time I see a pug, I will have to save it at any cost. But if I see a manzel, then I have to kill him in some weird way. So like, weird things like that that'll keep the story kind of up and going. Again, this is all kind of experimental, so I'm going to see how this goes, but it should be really fun, at least for me to work on and stuff. I also have a Patreon page where you can support my writing. So on my personal channel, which is the Nika Harper one, if I still have a lower third somewhere, I do a lot of short story writing, and on my personal channel, I will be reading them aloud, so it's kind of like audiobook style. Thanks to the people at Patreon, like to anyone who supports. It's a monthly pay service, so per 2 stories that I do, you get to pledge a certain amount. So it's like ongoing Kickstarter, and that's been going really, really awesome so far. And I've been doing a lot of stuff with that. I first came out with my first 2.
Cool. Jesse, what's coming up for you?
Hi, Internet. You know what I do on my channel. It's the same damn thing I've always done. If you are into that, you'll love it. If you don't, get the fuck out. I have 2 emails I want to share with you guys, though. The first one is for my mother, in which case she says, Jesse, stop putting your hand next to your mouth. You look like an idiot. The second is from Games. I guess the entire time I was like this, and she was like, very unprofessional, Jesse. The second is from GameStop, and it's literally titled, Please Come Back. So I feel like that is very apt. That is very apt.
Please, we need food for our families.
So yeah, no, everything we talked about at the beginning, that's what I'm doing on my channel right now.
Wow.
And there's fun things coming down the line. That's literally it, guys.
Fair.
I have fun. That's what I do. TB, what do you do?
All manner of things. So there's a cool announcement coming on the 15th for StarCraft 2, probably the biggest thing we've ever done ever. So the hope is that we can actually announce it on the 15th and not fuck it up. That's the plan at any rate. I will be casting the Nation Wars this weekend, which is the number of national teams competing under a tournament organized by O Gaming. I will cast with Greg Idra Fields and also Sean Day9 Plot, So that will be on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. As usual, just check Team Liquid for times. It's the best way to find out when things are happening. And I'll be streaming that on twitch.tv/TotalBiscuit. Outside of that, WTF is coming probably for Banner Saga, obviously. Broken Age, which I still haven't got my code for. I backed that on day one. My code still isn't here. Come on. Cough it up. What's wrong with you, Tim Schafer? Where's my code? Gimme,
We're all
gimme.
waiting.
Yeah,
It's like,
I want
check
it.
the spam folder. I'm like, there's nothing in there.
I actually should check my spam folder in there. There might actually be something
No,
in there.
it's not there yet.
No, it's... Oh, actually, it is in my spam folder. Shit. All right. Well, okay, I've got Broken Age, guys. In fact, I got it 4 hours ago. Sorry, Tim, I didn't mean that. It was actually legitimately in my spam folder. What the Why would it be there? Oh, God. What else have I missed?
I've
Holy
never.
shit.
Wow. Nika just had the look of like, motherfucker.
It's like, wow.
I don't have mine yet.
That thing actually happened. That's... Oh, cool. I get Broken Age. Excellent. Fantastic. All right, downloading that right now. That's going to be brilliant. Anyway, as I was saying, yeah, so that, more WTFs. Like, people seem to be digging the WTFs stuff right now, so I'll keep doing that. I do have a video coming up about early access, which is basically 34 minutes of me bitching about business models, which I know you'll love, and I need to just find the proper video footage to go with that. So that's hopefully in the next few days. The audio is already recorded. More Hearthstone, because you keep throwing money at me for that, so I'm not going to complain. So a couple more Hearthstone videos this week. The Rogue run, I think, is currently going pretty well, so we'll keep doing that and trying not to suck horribly. And if you haven't already seen it, you should check out Game 2 of our Polaris Speed Bowl tournament. It's me versus Force SC2 strategy. I'm playing goblins, and I may or may not blow up my own team, which is very goblin-esque. That's just the way things go. And there's loads of StarCraft stuff on youtube.com/TotalBiscuit, as there always is. I've posted some Starbow stuff, cast some recent stuff, done some ladders. Like, I've been busy. So, you know, you got content. Go watch it. Go watch it. I don't think I'm doing anything else. No, that'll work. Cool. So that wraps us up, folks. Thank you very much for watching the Co-optional Podcast. Follow us on Twitter.
Jesse Cox. Go there. Follow me.
At Nika Harper.
IamChiib.
Yes, but what's your Twitter?
Oh, it's IamChiib.
High quality jokes! High quality jokes! God, burns for days! You can follow me at TotalBiscuit, although if my humor is of that level, I'd suggest that you don't. Thank you very much for watching the show, folks. Please do check out the rest of the stuff on youtube.com/Polaris. If you missed any part of this show, then go back and watch it again. If you happen to be a subscriber and you missed any part of this show, it's already available for you in the early access VODs over on twitch.tv/TotalBiscuit, because I've got science on my side. All right, we are out, folks. Thank you very much for watching. Good night. Goodbye. 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 Goodbye.